Bowden Seminoles have offered a galaxy of All-Americans.
3, 2, 1, touchdown, Florida State.
National championships, Heisman Trophy excellence. You're talking Seminoles.
The decade of the 90s witnessed one of college football's most celebrated runs.
Play big, fires the deep ball, down the field for Jack Jackson. He leads, he got it, touchdown!
These were some great games.
They're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Gators.
No one was more feared than the University of Miami national championship contenders.
Hey, we got to find these guys. Hello everyone, I'm Chris Doring, your host for Gridiron Greats. And when the word got out about me being the new host of Gridiron Greats, I had a lot of calls from people wondering what games we were going to do this season. One call in particular came from a guy that had a particularly rooting interest in what game we were going to do. That call came from former Gator fullback John L. Williams. John L. wanted to know when we were going to do a game from his era, and I made a deal with John L. at that point in time. I'll find a great game from the mid-'80s if you promise to bring out some of your former teammates to watch the game along with us and reminisce about some of the great points from that game. After sifting through a number of good ones from the mid-'80s, I came across one that I particularly was fond of, a game that I watched in 1985 from the Orange Bowl between the University of Florida and the University of Miami. Well, I lived up to my part of the deal, and John L. lived up to his part of the deal big time. Today with us, it's a pleasure for me to be joined by some of the guys that were my heroes during the most formative years of my career and becoming a Gator fan. These were some of the greatest years in Florida football history. And John L., was this tough, kind of getting these guys all here together with us today?
It was tough. I haven't seen Neil or Curran in a long time. Seen Neil last year, seen Curran last year also.
When was the last time everybody was here together, though? I mean, was
the last time we was together had to be probably '85. All the three of us together had to be way back in 1985 when we all got together and was playing that particular ball game or the last ball game of the season.
Well, I appreciate your effort in getting that done for us today. The other half of what I consider to be the greatest backfield tandem in Florida football history, Neil Anderson joining us here. Neil, now this was kind of interesting for you guys because coming off the 1984 season, you guys had won the SEC championship. Now you were a team that a lot of people expected to be a top 5 team at the end of the '85 season. You guys were no longer under the radar. You were kind of the hunted rather than the hunter. What was the mindset like going into the season?
Well, that changed things. It was a different attitude, but we had a lot of confidence because we had some really quality players on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, young quarterback and some new offensive linemen, but skill positions, we were loaded. So we felt very confident going into the season.
A guy that was back there in the backfield with you as well, a second-year starter at the quarterback position, Kerwin Bell, here with us now. And Kerwin, you going into the Miami game, much different kind of schedule than we see from a lot of the teams nowadays where you get that warm-up game. What was it like jumping right into the fire, having to play the Hurricanes' first game of the season?
Well, first of all, Neil says I was young. I wasn't young then. I was a veteran.
Well, you're pretty young. You just handed the ball off the first season. And this season, we would let you throw it a little bit.
All right. Well, no, I tell you what, you know, coming out of that freshman year in 1984, we had, like Neil said, we had so much confidence going into that first game. We wanted to play the best teams, Chris, and you know, we're the University of Florida, and for us to have that game at the first of the season, Miami, that as the first #1 game, I think it really helped us get ready as a team. You knew early on that you had to get yourself ready in all season during the summer, into pre-fall camps, practices. You had to get yourself ready to go because you're going to play a great football team.
Well, this team certainly was ready to go to start the 1985 season. Let's get off the kickoff right now. To get this Gridiron Greats kicked off, we join Jim Gallagher and Jim Yarbrough from a steamy Orange Bowl in Miami.
We're ready to start here in the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. The Florida captains this evening, Alonzo Johnson, Alonzo Mitts, John L. Williams, Neil Anderson, Patrick Miller, and Ray Criswell. Miami won the toss, and thus the Gators of Florida scheduled to receive. And kicking off for Miami, it'll be number 3, Mark Seelig. He is a junior from Mount Dora, Florida. There's Jimmy Johnson, head football coach at the University of Miami. moving into his second year with the Hurricanes here on his home turf in the Orange Bowl. You're looking at the deep receivers for Miami. That would be Ricky Nattiel, 89, on the left side, and Brett Wickman on the right side just a moment ago as we get ready to get underway with Florida Gator football.
Interestingly, Jim, Miami won the toss and waived the right to make a decision, so Florida decided to receive. Miami will have that right in the second half.
Getting ready to move to the football is the kickoff man, the 5'11", 190-pounder Selig, and he boots it high and deep into the end zone. It'll be taken by Wickman. He drops to one knee. So wise move there by this young man who is from Gainesville. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line, put it in play. Scheduled to get underway. Kerwin Bell in 84. 98 completions out of 184 attempts for 1,614 yards, 53%, 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, the most outstanding passing efficiency rating of any freshman in the history of the NCAA. Anderson, Williams, Neal, McDonald, and Odom will be the skill people for Florida. Up front, it'll be Williams, Zimmerman, McCarthy, Davis, and Cleveland. And here we go, 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line for the Gators as the Hurricanes dig in defensively. The pitch goes to Neal Anderson, turns upfield, and almost picks up a first down as he picks up 9 yards on the carry.
We're going to see a new defense by the Miami Hurricanes. They're going to be starting 4 big down defensive linemen. They hope to put pressure on the offense with those 4 big guys up front. Neal just got outside rather easily then.
He has some outstanding stats with 10 100-yard games. Defensively, Moss, McVay, Jones, George Myra Jr., Jerome Brown, Fagan across the front for Miami. Blades, Brown, Ellison, Baining will be the deep backs. It'll be 2nd and 1, ball on the 29-yard line, and the give goes to John L. Williams straight up the middle. He's got the first down across the 30 to the 32. Derwin Jones, the left tackle, makes the stop for the Canes.
Derwin Jones, a sophomore, 6'4", 268 from the city of Miami.
John L. Williams, a young man from Palatka. Neal Anderson is from Graceville, 2 small Florida towns, and they call them rural delivery because they carry the mail.
Jim, I think we're going to see some great running backs on the field tonight for both of these universities. The running game should be the strength of both of these teams.
1st and 10, the 32-yard line, the line of scrimmage in Florida territory. Kerwin Bell at the line, 4-man front being thrown up by Miami's Hurricanes. The give goes to John L. Williams off the left side, across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Bruce Fleming, the middle linebacker, makes the stop. Nattiel, Cleveland, good blocking.
Bruce Fleming had a great season for the Miami Hurricanes last year. Number 58 for the Hurricanes. There you see John L. Williams, the big, strong fullback. Neal Anderson, the great speed at the tailback position. Up front, new offensive line for the University of Florida, doing a fine job. 4 new starters in that offensive line.
2nd down and a yard to go. The ball at the 41-yard line for the Gators of Florida as they march on Miami. The give goes to the top of the eye back, and that is Neal Anderson, and he has the first down.
Well, you love to be in second short situation. You put the defense in a bind. The Gators decided to go for the conservative dive up the middle. They get a first down.
1st and 10 at the 43-yard line now for the University of Florida. And here you're looking at the Gators along the sideline. The gentleman with the headset is their head coach, Galen Hall. Moved into the position last year. He is 8-0 as a head coach. Here is Kerwin Bell, the quarterback, has his troops at the line, and Bell drops back for his first pass of the game, goes long, and it is incomplete. Almost intercepted by Miami, intended for Ray McDonald, and the good play, Benny Blades, the cornerman for the Hurricanes.
Ray McDonald was wide open in the middle of the secondary. The ball flew on Kerwin. They fake a dive to the tailback. He's looking for Ray McDonald in the middle. The ball just takes off, and Benny Blades almost picks it up, but it just skips before it gets to him.
That brings up 2nd down 10. Ball remains at the 43. Galen Hall along the sideline talking with the backup quarterback, Rodney Brewer. Split backfield behind Bell and receivers left and right as he drops the throw again out into the flat to Williams, complete at the midfield stripe across the 45 to the 44-yard line. The 6 feet, 222-pound senior from Palatka.
Both of these teams tonight will also throw the ball to the fullback. John L. Williams was the leading receiver in terms of catches last year for the Florida Gators, 21 catches. The Hurricanes will also throw to their backs. You don't see Florida throw into the tailback very often, however. John L. Williams has great hands, and he's a powerful fullback.
1st and 10 at the 43-yard line of Miami for Florida, and Kerwin Bell gives off to Anderson, who is stacked up behind the line. Good pursuit by the Miami Hurricane defense. Jerome Brown, the junior from Brooksville, 98, made the tackle.
Looks like Jerome Brown was slanting on that play. He was in the Gator backfield before they knew what was happening. A terrific play. Here we'll see Jerome Brown penetrating, forcing the tailback to try and get wide. Neil Anderson doesn't have a chance after the pursuit catches up with him.
2nd and 12, the ball on the 45-yard line now for the Gators, as they lost a couple on that one. And Miami's defense with the 4-man front again, and the linebackers playing right in the gaps for the Canes as Bell drops the throw, and he's out in the flat to John L. Williams, complete. Williams spins off one man, bounced out of bounds on the far sideline in the vicinity of the 40.
You know, in this game, Galen Hall is not only the head coach for the University of Florida, but he's also the offensive coordinator. That was an obvious passing situation, the first obvious passing situation in the game. He came up with a smart play, a screen pass, but it didn't work. John L. Williams was bouncing outside, but the pursuit caught him. Looks like 3rd and about 8.5, Jim.
Miami's defense shored up very well on that one. 3rd and 8 is a situation ball at the 42-yard line with receivers left and right. And they're operating off the far side hash mark. The wide side would be to the bottom of your screen as Bell drops the throw. He's got his man in the flat, complete to the 30-yard line to Neil Anderson, the senior from Graceville, and he's got the first down. Brought down by Benny Blades.
Again, Florida sneaking the backs just beyond the grasp of the linebackers. Neil Anderson, who was not a major receiver for the Gators last year, comes up with a big first down catch.
So a good play by Anderson. He's also an outstanding student leader in the Florida Student Senate. 1st and 10, and the ball spotted down at the 29-yard line. And here you see the end zone camera look at Bell. His give-off goes to Neil Anderson, rips off the left side, and he is brought down near the 20-yard line.
I tell you what, this Gator offense is looking potent in this first drive. As is always the case, the first series in any ball game to establish momentum is so important. And at this point, the University of Florida has established control of that line of scrimmage. That can change at any time. Look at big Jeff Zimmerman bowling over the defensive end, number 95, Kevin Fagan, the strongest player on the Hurricane defense. Neil Anderson plugging close to a first down, 2nd and about 1.
At the 20-yard line, Anderson's already picked up 32 yards. The motion man would be the tight end at the top of the screen. The pitch goes to Anderson, and he is swarmed under as he hits the corner on the far side. Good pursuit by the University of Miami Hurricane defensive unit. George Myra Jr., middle linebacker, brings him down, and if that name is familiar, a little over 20 years ago, his dad was an All-American at Miami. The Florida offense in '84 averaged 244 yards per game rushing, so they've got a great infantry.
And they're off to a good start tonight. Again, the offensive line is being rebuilt, but those young men are taking control of the line of scrimmage up to this point.
The defensive unit for Miami swarms a lot more than they did last year, and I think that's probably that Jimmy Johnson stamp on it. 3rd and 1, ball on the 20, and straight up the middle, and it looks like Florida's got the first down.
Well, talking about Jimmy Johnson's stamp, he is a defensive expert, and he could not wait to get control of the defense on this ball club. Last year, he didn't even have the experience of a spring practice. This year, he is in control. He got his own defensive coordinator, and he's going to be making things happen on defense, he hopes.
Well, the Florida offense has moved across the Miami 20 into the 18-yard line, and it's 1st and 10 as we take a look at Jimmy Johnson and some of his staff along the sideline. He was a great guard for the University of Arkansas, played for Frank Broyles on a national championship team there in '64. At the 18-yard line, the I formation for Florida, and the pitch again goes to Anderson as he cuts back and tries to go against the grain, but Miami's defense was equal to the task and brings him down a little behind the line of scrimmage.
The young man that made that great defensive play was actually Bruce Fleming. He penetrated, caused the tailback to cut back up, which is what he's supposed to do. That's where the pursuit takes over. That worked to perfection.
I'd like to be able to hear what Galen Hall is saying along the sidelines, but we can't tap in on him.
Well, he's saying I want 6.
2nd and 10, ball at the 18-yard line for Miami. Slot offense, or rather for the Florida Gators. Slot offense for the Gators off the I formation, and dropping back to throw is Bell. Looking out in the flat, he's got his man inside the 5, and he's right at the goal line. Touchdown! Ricky Nattiel, the little junior from Newberry, Florida, at 5'9", 180. A great catch and super second effort to put that ball in the end zone.
Well, Ricky Nattiel has the greatest speed of any receiver on the University of Florida team. He ran a simple down and hooked up about the 3-yard line and was able to turn around and go for that end zone. Big 6 points for the Florida Gators.
Ray Criswell, the punter, will hold, and the kick will come from Jeff Dawson, the junior from Lantana, Florida. There's the snap, and it is good. And the score now is the University of Florida 7, Miami nothing, and we'll be back right after this. Still got a lot of football to play here in the Orange Bowl. The Gators up by a score of 7-0 if you've just joined us. 8 minutes and 30 seconds to play in the first quarter, and the Gators penalized 5 yards, being offside on the kickoff. They will kick again, and John David Francis, a walk-on freshman from Stark, Florida, will be the kickoff man for Florida.
They've changed the rule from last year on the kickoff. Should the ball fly through the end zone, it'll still be brought out to the 20-yard line, not the 30-yard line like it was last year.
It is high and deep and will be taken by Miami on the 17. He's across the 20 and down at the 23-yard line, and carrying the football for the Hurricanes, Daryl Oliver, and Gerald Dickens brought him down.
Well, it was a wise decision to accept that penalty. Now the Canes have the ball out on about the 24-yard line instead of, I believe, their own 12.
Vinny Testaverde in '84 had 17 completions out of 34 attempts, as he didn't get to play very much because he played behind a great athlete, Bernie Kosar. But he's been waiting for his chance. Oliver, Highsmith, Blades, Irvin, and Smith will be the specialty people. Berticelli, Maddox, Rakosi across the front, along with O'Connor, and there's the snap to Testaverde, and the give-off is going to go to the fullback, and he is straight up the middle. Alonzo Highsmith brought down by Arthur White, a sophomore from Frostproof, as he hits the 25-yard line, so a little bit of a gain on the play. Scoring drive, 14 plays, 80 yards, possession, 6:29. Bell to Nattiel, 18-yard pass, extra point was a kick by Dawson. And you know, that's what you want, is those time-consuming ball control drives. Defensive starters, Miller, well, here's the defensive starters in the back, Stacy, Knight, Brown, and Williams. Here is Vinny Testaverde, and he gives off once again to the fullback, straight up the middle, across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Close to a first down is Alonzo Highsmith.
Big Alonzo Highsmith, 228 pounds. You're going to be seeing the Hurricanes run a pro set. Gary Stevens, their offensive coordinator, has been here for a couple of years. He was the offensive coordinator of their national championship team. You're not going to see a whole lot of change from the same offense that Bernie Kosar ran.
3rd and about a yard for the Hurricanes, and the ball on the 33-yard line as Testaverde goes with a pro set with a split backfield behind him, taking a long count. Florida with 3 down linemen. Dropping back to throw is Testaverde, and it's complete to Oliver, and he's got the first down at the 40-yard line. Jarvis Williams, the right corner, makes the tackle. So Testaverde is 1 for 1.
It certainly is, and that was a very smart play that he made. He saw the pressure coming from the inside linebackers. He picked up Daryl Oliver immediately, just flipped the ball out there simply for a quick first down. A very bright play by Vinny Testaverde.
Ball at the 39-yard line, 1st and 10. 6:53 to play the first quarter. The Gators up in Miami, 7-0. I formation now, and the give-off goes to Oliver, and he goes outside and brought down at about the 44-yard line by Pat Miller, the outside linebacker, a senior from Panama City.
Last year, Daryl Oliver and Alonzo Highsmith had great games against the University of Florida in the opener in Tampa, and we can look for these young men to carry that football north and south this evening as well.
2nd and 10 now for the Canes as they drive on the Gators of Florida. Vinny Testaverde from Elmont, New York, is at the quarterback controls with a pro set, and he drops the throw. Goes for his tight end. Smith intercepted by Florida at the 35. He's at the 40 and brought down at the 46-yard line, and that was Ricky Knight, a sophomore from Gainesville, who intercepted Testaverde's pass.
Well, the strong safety has to be responsible for that tight end. There's also a linebacker chasing him man-to-man. Ricky Knight makes a great play, breaking on the ball. Vinny Testaverde got a little greedy there. Ricky Knight comes up with the interception.
Big play there by the Gainesville boy, Ricky Knight, getting the ball back for the offense there. You guys got the ball first and kind of went right down the field. Interesting game plan, 10 touches between John L. and Neal there in the first series, and with 4 new starters on the offensive line, a little surprised to see that you guys would be running the ball right at guys like Jerome Brown, George Meyer Jr. that they had out there, Daniel Stubbs. What was the thinking going into the ball game?
Well, we were a power running team, and we didn't want to change our philosophy just because we were playing Miami. Even though they had such a great defense, we still wanted to stick with what we thought we did best, and that was come out and pound them with the running game. And we knew if we got off to a good start, that would give our offensive line a lot of confidence, and then we could open up the passing game and let Curran do his thing.
And you were a guy, John L., that actually led the team in receiving in 1984. Not often that you have a fullback that leads your team, especially not nowadays where guys would do that. But what was it like back then being relied upon so heavily, not only to carry the ball and to block for Neal as well, but to be maybe Kerwin's best option out of the backfield?
Well, coming from Palatka High School, we ran the wishbone offense, so I was one of those guys that was able to block, catch the ball, and run the ball. But we had a great offensive back in Neal Anderson to come in and do his job, and I did a lot of the blocking, and of course I wanted to touch the ball also. And my way of touching the ball just as much as Neal was catching the ball out of that backfield, and Coach Charlie Pell and Galen Hall gave me an opportunity to touch the ball just as much.
Kerwin, I didn't see you throwing the ball to Neal quite as much as John L. Did you not have faith in my man's hand?
His hand's a little suspect, Chris, but John L., I tell you, he had some of the best hands. He was like a wide receiver out there playing running back for you know, and he was always the insurance policy. You know, for me, if I got pressure or I had to check it down, I mean, it was like throwing to an all-pro wide receiver. He had those kind of hands and that kind of ball skill as a fullback, which is unbelievable. And that's what made him into the kind of player he was.
Yeah, looking at
to see something, really, I have to be honest, to see somebody like John L. do what he did was unbelievable to me, because he came in so highly touted out of Palatka, and then had a couple of injuries and things went on early, and then so he and I wouldn't compete, both freshmen together, and going to be here for a long time. You couldn't come out after 3 years at that time. You know, they moved him to fullback, put me at halfback, so we wouldn't compete. So he didn't get the ball like I got it, and you're getting the ball, you get a lot more credit, more touchdowns, but still, he was the same guy coming out every day, never changed, and that was just a big credit to him. And the kind of person that he was.
And part of the reason that you guys were so successful. We're going to go ahead and get back to the game in a minute. When we return from the break, we'll get you out for the rest of the first quarter here on Gridiron Greats.
Male enhancement. 5 years ago, few believed that this simple capsule could make a man larger. There was a lot of skepticism that a simple capsule could do such an amazing thing. A capsule that can make a man larger? But now, 5 years later, Extends has sold over 100 million capsules to men of all ages all over the world.
That's because the key ingredient in Extends has been scientifically proven to increase the size of that certain part of the male body. It's not a gimmick, it's real science. Now with over 100 million Extends capsules taken by men, it's hard to be skeptical. Extends was designed to do only one thing, make you larger regardless of age.
We're so sure Extends will make you larger, we're going to give you a week's supply absolutely free. All you pay for is the postage stamp.
A week's supply of Extends for the cost of a postage stamp. If Extends didn't do something pretty amazing, could we afford to do this? Call now for your free week's supply of Extends. You have nothing to lose, but a lot to gain.
College football is back. The season kicks off with a special Thursday matchup as Wake Forest takes on Baylor. Then on Saturday, there's 2 great games, starting with Oklahoma State battling Washington State. Touchdown! Plus, a Pac-10 showdown as Washington squares off with Oregon. A great slate of college football begins with a special Thursday game, August 28th on FSN.
Take a journey down memory lane through baseball's past to a time where history comes alive. Baseball's golden age. See legendary heroes like Ruth, Williams, Robinson, and DiMaggio in a rare collection of footage that brings America's pastime to life like never before. It's an all-new episode. The Dynasty begins Sunday. It's the remarkable series that uncovers the most spectacular tales in sports history. Amazing sports stories. Incredible. Unbelievable. And 100% true. These are the greatest stories never told. This week, it's the tale of golf's greatest con man. Sunday. Every game, every score, every highlight. It's the final score. 30 minutes every night of the week, bringing you all the action from the world of sports. It's the one show where serious sports fans go for serious sports highlights. The Final Score, presented by DirecTV. Weeknights on FSN.
Yeah, you can't overestimate the importance of the punting game and the kicking game. Ray Criswell is one of the best in the nation. He gives the Gators out of a bind. The Hurricanes, however, do have good field position on about their 36 or 7 yard line.
37, first and 10 for the Hurricanes of Miami, and Vinny Testaverde chants the signals. The give off goes to Alonzo Highsmith, trying to turn the corner on the far side, gets a couple of yards, but Florida's defense sniffed that one out, and Curtis Stacy, a senior from Bronson, makes the hit. Highsmith, 6.1 rushing average in '84, the best in University of Miami history.
He had some great games for the Hurricanes last year, and they're counting on him to have a big season.
2nd and 7 as he picks up 3. Ball on the 40. Clock ticks away. 4:20 to play in the first quarter. Gators lead it, and they lead by a score of 7-0. Turning the corner is Melvin Bratton, and bounced out of bounds along the far sideline by Vernell Brown, the free safety for the Gators.
I tell you, Jim, I think this Melvin Bratton might be the most exciting player on the field, period, tonight. He only played much in 3 games last season, and he dominated the running game for the Hurricanes when he was in there. He's just got great speed, and it's going to be interesting to see how he plays here this evening. He didn't start, but he's like a reliever. They're putting him in there now to get some excitement on offense.
3rd and short yardage for the Hurricanes. The ball on the 46, and they've got the 2 tight end formation, and the give off is going to go to the fullback, and that is Highsmith, and he's got the first down for Miami at the midfield stripe. Keith Williams, a junior from Milton, Florida, the right tackle, made the hit for the Gators.
In case we didn't mention it, you got to realize that the University of Florida had the leading defense in the Southeastern Conference last year. They're returning about 9 starters from that defense, so they expect to play some tough defense out there against the Hurricanes tonight. The Hurricanes seem to be moving the ball at this point, however.
Right on the midfield stripe, Vinny Testaverde is the signal caller, and he gives off this time to Alonzo Highsmith over left guard, and he gets to the 45-yard line. A nice carry for Highsmith, and Keith Williams and Ron Moten combined to make the stop. Moten is a junior from Clearwater, Florida.
Just like the University of Florida, there was a loss in the offensive line of all but 1 starter for the Hurricanes. Paul Berticelli is returning letterman. The rest of the young men, it's a first start for them also tonight.
2nd and 5, the ball on the 45. 4 down linemen being used by the Gators, so they're in the nickel, and dropping back to throw is Testaverde, and it is complete to the 38-yard line to Alonzo Highsmith coming out of the backfield, and Ricky Knight, his strong safety, makes the hit. He's a sophomore from Gainesville, Florida.
Vinny Testaverde showed a lot of patience there. He wasn't anxious. He waited and waited for Highsmith to come up and then drilled the ball into his big fullback.
This is the deepest penetration Miami has made here in the first quarter. 1st and 10, and the ball on the 38-yard line. I formation by the Canes. Testaverde, a little swing pass out to Melvin Bratton, and he turns upfield, but he is brought down at about the 35-yard line by Curtis Stacy and Alonzo Mitz.
The Canes are trying to take advantage of the aggressiveness and blitzing of Alonzo Johnson. Alonzo was blitzing there. They snuck Bratton out to the flat, hoping that he could use that talent to break something open in the flat.
2nd and 7 at the 35-yard line for the Hurricanes. And they've got receivers left and right. You're looking at the end zone shot as Vinny Testaverde rolls now to his left. Testaverde is being chased and brought down way behind the line, way back at the 48-yard line, as Alonzo Mitz and Alonzo Johnson really made a great play defensively.
Well, actually, the Canes were trying to buy a little bit of extra time by rolling Vinny Testaverde out. Generally, you get a little bit more time to throw the ball, but we'll see. From the inside, Alonzo Mitz defeats the offensive blocker, forces Vinny to turn back, and he's tackled by Alonzo Johnson. Big loss. Vinny probably would have been better off unloading that ball.
Johnson in '84 tied Wilbur Marshall's Florida season record for sacks. So you know he's a great player. 3rd and 20 at the 47, and here's Vinny Testaverde dropping back and looking to find somebody open, being chased out of the pocket. It is complete to Bratton. Bratton is at the 45-yard line. So the Hurricanes on the safety valve are able to save a little on the play, but Dwayne Glover, the right corner man, makes the tackle, and there was good penetration by 45. Leon Pennington, a senior from Fort Lauderdale, the inside linebacker.
Right, Jim. Leon Pennington made a great open field tackle right there. The Canes were moving the ball. Now they're forced to punt.
Jeff Beagles, a sophomore, will kick. He's a junior college transfer from Arizona. It is high. The fair catch being called for at the 12-yard line. Bobbles the ball, but it's recovered by Florida. Ricky Nattiel.
Ricky Nattiel led the nation in punt returns last year. He's an exciting player, great speed, and he's going to cause some problems for any punting team this season.
There was a flag on the last play, and so it looks like it may be coming back. We don't know who it's against, but they are talking to the Miami defensive captain.
Yeah, Bruce Fleming is discussing the situation with the referee. It looks like it might be a flag against the University of Florida.
There's Nattiel as he bobbles it just for a moment, but then drops on it and saves it at the 12-yard line, and under a lot of heavy pressure from Miami special teams.
I can't imagine a worse job than being the returner of punts. That ball goes about 50 yards high and about 50 yards down the field. I can't imagine what those young men go through on the punt return team.
About as much fun as working in a dynamite factory, I guess.
I think so.
Let's set it for you. 50 seconds to play in the first quarter. Florida 7, Miami nothing. We have just had a punt, a fair catch called for by Ricky Nattiel at the 12. He dropped on the football. There has been a flag on the play, but we're not getting a signal from the field as to what the call was. However, they have been talking to Miami's captains.
You know, I never understood why they just don't go and ask the coaches whether they want to accept or refuse a penalty. They always ask the player, and the player looks over to the coach, and they have problems communicating the decision across the field. It just makes sense to me to go right to the coach and say, Coach, you want to accept this penalty or not? And it eliminates a lot of that confusion.
Okay, it was illegal use of the hands. That was the situation. And so now the Hurricanes get the down over, and for them it's 4th and 12 on the 40. Greg Cox is going to try to kick a field goal from the 47, so it's a 57-yard attempt, and it is going to be short. Cox is a great field goal kicker, but that's a long way to try to kick one, 57 yards, even though he did have a little wind with him because of the fact that the field here runs east and west, and the wind blows in from the only open end, which is the east end zone.
So a long miss there by Miami preserves the 7-0 lead for the Gators there at the end of the first quarter. And one of the interesting things that I saw there was looking at some of the shots of a young Jimmy Johnson, Galen Hall on the Florida sideline, two guys that are both in their second year of coaching and guys that would go on to have kind of a big impact on their respective schools. Jimmy Johnson would win some national titles. Galen ultimately leading Florida to an SEC championship, the first in the history there. What was it like, at least from y'all's perspective, being with Galen Hall, a guy that had been promoted following Charlie Pell's firing? Did you feel like he was a guy that was kind of destined for greatness as a Gator coach?
Well, it was hard to tell for me at first because we had so much success before he took over as the head coach, but he was so smart that he decided he was just going to leave things the way they were. And you figured, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And that was his attitude. He didn't come in and try to put his stamp on from what he had, from where he had been previously in the type of offense they ran. He let us stick with what we were doing and what we knew how to do best. And to me, that was a big thing in him getting started.
And Kerwin, obviously a guy you were close with as the offensive coordinator that had been promoted afterwards. What was your relationship like with Coach Hall?
Well, it was good. You know, one thing about Coach Hall, one of the characteristics he had that has probably helped us become the kind of team we were, was that he was a very humble man. And so like Neil said, he didn't come in and think just now that he's the head coach that he had to change everything. Like Neil said, Coach Pell has set a good foundation there. We were a very successful team, and he just sort of came in and said, let's keep it the same way. And you know, he was always a player coach. He got along with all the players. He kept the attitude and the approach to the game very even keel, not a lot of pressure. He tried to put a lot of pressure on you as a player. And so he was good for our team. We were a veteran team, and he sort of took the back seat, and he was very humble in his approach and let us just go out and win football games.
Looking at Jimmy Johnson on that sideline, a very young Jimmy Johnson, a guy that would win a national championship or two at Miami and ultimately go on to the NFL. A lot of guys there, Butch Davis, another guy that would have some success and then an NFL run as well. But a guy that you guys were coached by and then went on to the NFL later on, a guy that actually John L. and I share some coaching with, Mike Shanahan. He was my coach at Denver, but actually the guy that recruited you to the University of Florida, right?
Yeah, Coach Mike Shanahan stayed in Palatka. The good 2-3
little different
months.
Recruiting rules back in those days, right?
Well, to say the right thing is he was in Palatka, not to see me always. He was in Palatka all the time. And between him and Coach Pell, they was coming to see, because we had such great players on our high school football team. There was coaches from all around the nation in there to see those players. But one week in particular, Coach Mike Shanahan, he just came that week before signing date. He was there about every day at the school just to make sure that the University of Florida had a chance of getting me.
Ever any wavering in your mind?
No.
No? You were destined to be a Gator?
I was destined to be a Gator because I didn't like to fly. There was an airplane crash that happened, I think it was in Michigan, a couple of weeks before I had a chance to fly to University of Southern Cal. And I did not go because of
Changed
that
your
plane
mind,
crash.
huh?
Yeah, I changed my mind. And that helped me decide to come here. And plus, it was only 45 minutes away from home.
Family gets a chance to watch more games. Well, when we come back, it'll be Miami's ball following a punt to begin the second quarter. Stick with us.
Male enhancement. 5 years ago, few believed that this simple capsule could make a man larger. There was a lot of skepticism that a simple capsule could do such an amazing thing. A capsule that can make a man larger? But now, 5 years later, Extends has sold over 100 million capsules to men of all ages all over the world.
That's because the key ingredient in Extends has been scientifically proven to increase the size of that certain part of the male body. It's not a gimmick. It's real science.
Hello, I'm Dr. Stein, founder of the Stein Medical Institute, and I'm here to talk to you about Extends. Extends is a revolutionary tablet designed to do one main thing, to increase the size of that certain part of the male body and promote an overall better love life. I have personally researched the formula in Extends and found it to be truly effective.
We're so sure Extends will make you larger, we're going to give you a week's supply absolutely free. All you pay for is the postage stamp.
A week's supply of Extends for the cost of a postage stamp. If Extends didn't do something pretty amazing, could we afford to do this?
What have you got there, honey?
I ordered a male enhancement product called Extends.
Male enhancement. You mean like building more muscles?
No, you know, male enhancement.
Does that really work?
We're so confident that this will work for you that we'll make you this guarantee. If you don't see real noticeable growth, it costs you nothing.
This made me a heck of a lot bigger. So I've been really happy and I got bigger.
Well, what do you want me to tell you? It got bigger.
Well, things become bigger.
And what are your results?
I'm bigger.
You're bigger and you're not embarrassed to see this.
Ah, no way.
We're so sure Extends will make you larger, we're going to give you a week's supply absolutely free. All you pay for is a postage stamp.
A week's supply of Extends for the cost of a postage stamp. Call now for your free week's supply of Extends. You have nothing to lose, but a lot to gain.
Fox Business, taking business news to the next level. A new approach, attitude, and edge. Experienced and straightforward. One team covers it best. Trade trends, market moves, personal finance. No nonsense, no jargon. Just smart and savvy insight. Money moves that make sense. End of story. Fox Business Network. A world of business. Start here, start now. To find Fox Business, check your local listings or log on to foxbusiness.com today.
Did Dad ever talk to you about what he wanted from the club?
A brotherhood.
Wednesday, September 3rd.
Nothing happens in Charming we don't control or get a piece of.
Devil wants in. He'll get in.
An FX original series.
They stole our M4s.
Now, I don't care if you gotta grease or kill. I want those guns back.
Sons of Anarchy, Wednesday, September 3rd on FX.
So here comes the Hurricanes, and they've got a couple of new guys in there. Michael Irvin is at one of the flanker positions, and Ryan Blades at the other. Vinny Testaverde, the quarterback, on 1st and 10 from the 19-yard line. Testaverde throws, and it is incomplete. Bounces at the 35-yard line, intended for Michael Irvin. He is the freshman from Fort Lauderdale.
Michael Irvin was open on that play. It was a similar route that Ricky Nattil had run so successfully for Florida on his touchdown catch, but Vinny bounced the ball to his wide receiver, 2nd down and 10.
Ball still remains on the 19-yard line as Florida's defense has settled down just a little bit, and they're playing well.
Now, a lot of experience on that Florida defense.
I formation as you take a look from the end zone camera for the University of Miami. And the give-off goes to the I-back, and he goes straight up the middle. And carrying the ball for the Hurricanes is Warren Williams. Sam Garland, a senior from Fitzgerald, Georgia. The left tackle makes the hit for the Gator defensive unit.
Williams, the tailback. You're going to see the University of Miami using a lot of different running backs. Big Sam Garland, 6'7". He's what a cowboy calls a tall drink of water. Makes the tackle.
3rd and 5, ball on the 24-yard line. An important offensive possession for Miami right now in this 2nd quarter, and the Gators in the nickel as Testaverde drops the throws, and it is complete to the 31-yard line to the tight end, Willie Smith. He's got the 1st down. He was under pressure from Jarvis Williams, a sophomore from Palatka, who brought him down, but Smith is an authentic All-American candidate from Jacksonville.
Well, you're not going to shut Willie Smith out very long. He's just too good. 6'2", 230 pounds. This young man was a 6'8" high jumper in high school in Jacksonville.
There's his stats for last year. As you can see, they're excellent.
And he missed 3 games, Jim, and caught 66 passes.
Too bad he didn't have a full season. The give-off goes to Bratton, who comes to the near side, and he's brought down by the Florida defense, who really pursued very well. Pennington and Curtis Stacy put the pressure on.
Now, it looks like defense is controlling the ball game at this point. University of Miami had about 9 returners on defense. University of Florida, big Scott Armstrong, seeing some action in there, making the tackle. He's a tough guy at that inside linebacker position.
2nd and 8 at the 34-yard line. Testaverde drops the throw for Miami, looking out in the flat. He's got a man open, and it is complete at the 35-yard line, driven out of bounds at the 34. Brett Perriman, the receiver, Vernell Brown, number 4, took him out along the far side. So a big play.
Oh, incredibly big play. You could not believe how wide open Brett Perriman got. Vinny Testaverde had all the time in the world. Perriman sneaks out down the sideline. The free safety, Vernell Brown's the only man between Perriman and the end zone. Vernell makes a nice open field tackle. The Hurricanes are threatening at the University of Florida's 34-yard line.
A 33-yard completion, and it's 1st and 10 for the Canes. A split backfield. Florida's defense digs in, and Testaverde with the long count. He must have an audible going. Drops back, and he's looking for somebody. Throws, and it is complete. Inside the 10 to the 8-yard line to Warren Williams. Vernell Brown, the senior from Gainesville, makes the stop for the Gators.
Well, to win big games, you got to have luck on your side, and I think Vinny Testaverde really kind of forced that ball in there just over the hand of Scott Armstrong. Good coverage, actually.
They were right there. It's very tough to make the play on a pass like that. 1st and goal at the 6-yard line. That was a 25-yard toss by Testaverde. They've got 2 tight ends in and 2 big backs behind Vinny Testaverde, the quarterback, with a wing off to the right side. Testaverde gives, and his give-off goes to Melvin Bratton, who gets across the 5 to the 4. But the Gator defense stiffens. Keith Williams, a junior from Milton, Florida, makes the tackle.
I tell you what, Jim, on that last catch, you got to give a lot of credit to Warren Williams. That's a tough pass to catch when you extend yourself like that, and you know you got about 3 or 4 people around you that are going to knock your head off at any instant. But he caught that ball. A big catch for the Miami Hurricanes. They're really threatening now.
The Gators trying to protect that 7-0 lead as Testaverde comes up. They put that wing over to the left side this time. The 2 big backs once again behind Testaverde as he's rolling out this way and looking for somebody in the end zone. Incomplete. Going up high was the tight end, Charles Henry, and it was just off his fingertips. Ricky Knight, the coverage man for Florida.
Again, as we mentioned earlier, anytime the quarterback rolls out, you're trying to buy some extra time. Testaverde also has the ability to run that ball just a little bit high over Charles Henry's hands.
Here's the first quarter stats. So far, rushing Florida 11, Miami 21. Passing the Gators 47, Miami 16. Offense 58 for the Gators, 37 for the Hurricanes. And the penalties, 10 yards against Florida, no yards against Miami. 1 turnover so far. And here is Vinny Testaverde with receivers left and right, 3rd, and goal on the 4. The give-off goes to the fullback straight up the middle, and he's got the touchdown. Warren Williams goes across for the Miami Hurricanes, and he is a 6 feet, 205-pound sophomore from Fort Myers. Ricky Knight making the hit, the strong safety for Florida, but he was right at the line, couldn't keep him out, and so the Canes have gotten on the board.
That quick trap is a great play in close to the goal line. If you can trap that down lineman who's buried at the line of scrimmage and just get a crack with a good quick back, he's in the end zone before the secondary can react.
David Kintai, 11, a receiver, will hold, and Greg Cox will be the point-after kicker for Miami, number 25. And here we take a look at the shot, and his foot is into it, and it is good. And so the score, 7-7. We'll be right back. We're in the second quarter, and the Miami Hurricanes have just scored to even it up at 7-7. And Mark Seelig, a junior from Mount Dora, Florida, Apopka High School, is going to kick off now for the Hurricanes of Miami. He gets ready to move to the football. Boots it away. It goes high and deep. Comes out of bounds along the near sideline at the 6-yard line.
He'll be forced to kick that ball again. Anytime it goes out of bounds, the offense is forced to re-kick the ball. Or the kicking team, excuse me.
So that means that we're going to see young Mr. Seelig booting once again.
I tell you what, Warren Williams became a hero here in Miami on that last series. He comes up with a big catch. Then he runs a quick trap into the end zone. 9 plays, 81-yard drive, possession 301. Warren Williams, 4-yard run.
Let's take another look at the touchdown.
The quick trap, you see the tackle making the trap, and Warren Williams, all he needs is a little bit of daylight, and he bursts through to the goal line.
There was an offsides call against the University of Miami, so that's going to move the ball back to the 35-yard line, and it's going to mean that Seelig will kick from there, and so the Gators will get to move up just a little bit here. We've got a 7-7 ball game in the Orange Bowl, with Florida scoring first, and then Miami coming back to score, so it's been pretty even.
Not much different than we really expected. We expected to see these teams in a tight battle this evening, and that's exactly what they're giving us.
Seelig, a walk-on player for Miami, gets ready to move to the football and boot it. And does, and it's high. Frankie Neal at the 12, he's at the 15, the 20, cuts upfield at the 25, he's across the 30, and down to the 38-yard line. So a nice return by the junior from Okeechobee, brought down by Charles Henry, a sophomore from St. Petersburg, Florida.
Frankie Neal is a big wide receiver. He's got great speed. They use him extensively on the kickoff returns. Gets a nice hold. The University of Florida has great field position as they start this series. Again, we got to mention Miami's kind of been dominating that line of scrimmage on defense. That young offensive line of the University of Florida has to start fighting back and moving that football down the field.
1st and 10 at the 37-yard line for the Gators. I formation with a slot to the left side and a quick pitch out to Ray McDonald, and he's across the 45-yard line up to the 49, going to be close to a first down. Looked like there might have been a fumble on the play, or at least the Canes fans think there was. He recovered, and so it remains Florida's football at the 49-yard line.
Ray McDonald's wide open. This is going to be interesting to see. He really gets popped right here. The decision is, did his knee go down before he lost the football? And evidently they thought it did, so it was down at that point automatically.
McDonald had a fine year last year, catching 2 touchdown passes. Longest was for 43 yards. He was an excellent high school track man. And coming in motion is Natil to the near side. The pitch now is going to go to Anderson. Cuts upfield at the midfield stripe. Picks up a very tough yard, the senior from Graceville, Florida. And it'll be 2nd down 9 coming back.
Winston Moss for the University of Miami making a great play. You're seeing the coaches doing quite a bit of substituting. Both teams have a lot of talent. Both teams have sufficient depth that the coaches feel confident in alternating their players in and out of the ball game, trying to get some fresh bodies out there.
For the Gators, 2nd and 9 at the 50-yard line, and here's Kerwin Bell, I formation with a slot, and Bell drops back to throw. He looks downfield. He's got his man at the 35, and he's across the 30 to the 29. Ricky Natil, the junior from Newberry, who's having a good football game.
Ricky Natil's going to have a good football game tonight. He's going to have a great season for the University of Florida. He's just got too much talent. Again, the Gators fake that handoff to the tailback. Kerwin Bell throws a bullet to Ricky the Rocket Natil. Ricky moves the ball down to around the 30-yard line of the Miami Hurricanes.
So that puts it inside the 30, 1st and 10 now. And Natil's stats last year, 20 catches for 447 yards, averaged 22.4 per catch. So he was right on with that 23-yarder. At the 29-yard line, Kerwin Bell, a slot offense. And Bell throws out in the flat, and he's got Wickman. Wickman's inside the 20-yard line and down to the 19. He's a junior from Gainesville, brought down by Don Ellis, a freshman cornerman for the University of Miami.
Now the Gators were counting on that secondary to drop off a little bit, leaving Wickman open, and sure enough he was, to get about 4 or 5 yards. I tell you, 4 or 5 yards is hard to come by any time, and that was a gimme for the University of Florida.
9:52 to play in the 2nd quarter. Florida 7 and Miami 7. There's Wickman, who just caught that last pass. He is split out wide, and you're looking at the end zone shot as Kerwin Bell goes with the I formation and pitches to Anderson. Anderson cuts inside, and he's down to the 11-yard line. The big senior from Graceville, Florida. They say he's kind of even a sleeper for not only All-American honors, but he's up for All-American honors, but he's a sleeper for the Heisman Trophy, depending on having a great year.
Well, you got to realize that he split duty with Lorenzo Hampton last year, and Lorenzo Hampton was good enough to be a #1 draft choice for Don Shula and the Miami Dolphins. So you're talking about a lot of talent when you're looking at Neil Anderson. He got 900 yards last year, and he was splitting time with Lorenzo Hampton.
Bell is 7 for 10, 90 yards tonight. Bell's pitch is going to go to Anderson, comes to the near side, swarmed under by that Miami defense as he gets back to the line of scrimmage.
There was about 8 Miami Hurricanes on that tackle. Again, we mentioned the University of Florida offensive line. Big Jeff Zimmerman, a 305-pound offensive guard, number 74, is the only returning starter in that offensive line. He was a key blocker on Neil Anderson's run one play previously, and he's going to have to give some leadership to that offensive line out there tonight.
3rd and 2 at the 11-yard line for Florida.
2 tight ends.
And they've got a wide-out split to the right side now. They come with a tight end in motion to the bottom of your screen, and the pitch is going to go to John L. Williams, and he's down inside the 5-yard line, so he's got the first down. Florida's knocking on Miami's door.
Oh, that was a well-designed play. Give Galen Hall, not only the head coach, as we mentioned, but the offensive coordinator for the University of Florida. Give him some credit. That was a very well-designed play. They had Miami outnumbered on the corner, and John L. Williams bowled forward to inside the 5-yard line, about on the 5-yard line.
There you see the story. About 8 minutes to play in the first half, and a tie ball game, 7-7 here in the Orange Bowl. And the Gators of Florida knocking on Miami's door, and the Miami defense digging in. 28 yards in 9 carries for Neil Anderson so far this evening. The pitch to Anderson, and he is tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. Good play by University of Miami Hurricane defensive unit, and that was Selwyn Brown, the strong safety who came blitzing in to make that play.
Well, your strong safety's got to have the personality of a linebacker and the speed of a defensive back, and we saw the courage that Selwyn Brown had right there. He just jumped into that fray and forced the tailback to take a loss on the play.
Second and goal at the 5-yard line for the Florida Gators, and we've got a tie ball game, 7-7, with a little over 7 minutes to play in the first half of the Orange Bowl.
Anytime you get down inside the 10-yard line, you got to get 6 points. The offense is thinking we got to get a touchdown right here.
Pro slot to the right side with the twin backs behind. Bell, who stumbles and falls at the 10-yard line.
Now Kerwin just got tangled up on his own feet there. The ball is down at the 9-yard line. I mentioned that the offense is thinking 6. The defense is thinking we'll give up 3, but we won't give up 6.
If you can read this now, we'll know what the play is going to be.
Looks like a third base coach.
He does look like a third base coach. Thought that was Bobby Wine for a minute. Third and goal at the 9-yard line now for the Gators of Florida as they come out of the huddle. They slot to the left side. That would be Ray McDonald in the slot number 9. The two big backs, Anderson and Williams, behind Kerwin Bell. He drops the throw, looks, throws, and it is incomplete. It was intended for Ricky Nattil, and there's a flag on the play. Flag on the play. A lot of pressure being put on by Don Ellis of the University of Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah, I believe that was an obvious penalty, even though the referee waited quite a bit before he threw the flag. Ricky Nattil, you can't see him on your screen. He's trying to break across the middle, but Don Ellis, number 29, he's already hit Nattil before the ball ever gets there. You cannot interfere physically with the receiver. You can get in his way. You can do anything but hit him before the ball arrives, and Don Ellis made contact before the ball got there.
That's going to give the Gators the football at the 2-yard line. 6:15 to play in the first half. 7-7 the score. There's Don Ellis, number 29.
Automatic first down, Jim, on that penalty.
First and goal. I formation. Motion man number 9, Ray McDonald. The give off goes to the fullback straight up the middle. Neil Anderson doesn't get it. Miami's defense holds on first down, but he's down at about the 1. Derwin Jones, the left tackle, makes a stop, a sophomore from Miami. Here's a look at it.
It's so critical for the offense not to let any penetration get through so the tailback can get a clean jump as he tries to hurdle into the end zone. If a defensive lineman is successful and can penetrate, he'll prevent that tailback from ever getting in the air. Once that tailback's in the air, it's almost impossible to keep him out of the end zone.
Second and goal at inside the 1-yard line for Florida. So they're knocking on Miami's door. The Miami defense digs in. Bell's give again goes to Anderson, who is stopped at the line. Miami defense stiffens. George Myra Jr., the middle linebacker, credited with his stop.
Well, again, they're breathing fire at that line of scrimmage. That defense, nothing lifts the defense like a goal line stand. And the Hurricanes are going to fight and bite and scratch for everything they're worth. At this point, they do penetrate, and they almost prevent Neil Anderson from ever leaving his feet. Again, it's so critical to take control of that line of scrimmage, especially on the 1-inch line.
Now the Miami defense digs in once again. The Gators right up at the line, trying to put the ball in the end zone. Motion man to the near side would be Frankie Neal. The pitch is going to go again to the trailing back, and he is stopped. So the Miami defense has held, and that means that Florida is going to have to settle for 3. Selwyn Brown, the strong safety, credited with a hit, and Jeff Dawson will attempt the 3-pointer. Ray Criswell, 13, the punter, will hold. Criswell was a high school quarterback at sure hands. Dawson's 5'11", 175, a junior, lives in Lantana, Florida, but grew up and played high school football in Maryland. And it's going to be a tough try, too, because it will come from an angle. Waiting for their snap is Criswell. Dawson's foot is into it, and it is good. And so Florida is on the board for the first ever field goal for Jeff Dawson, and that means that the Gators have pulled out to a 10-7 lead on the University of Miami with 4 minutes and 10 seconds to play in the second quarter.
Busy start there the second quarter. Miami comes down and scores. Vinny Testaverde completed some big balls there. Actually, his first start taking over for Bernie Kosar. And Kerwin, you were in the same situation the year before as a freshman being asked to come in. What was that like, and what was probably the mindset of Vinny Testaverde going into the ball game like that?
Well, I mean, to be your first game, you know, to play against a inter rivalry like we were, a big rival, in a big stadium, filled out, full capacity, it's a nerve-wracking to be the quarterback to go in. Luckily, I had a great football team around me, the Great Wall of Florida and the great backs we had there. So I just sort of stayed out of the way.
The pressure off you a little bit.
Stayed out of the way, didn't make any mistakes. If Coach Pell would have just put me with the right person the night before, he roomed me with Neil
he was
to try to calm me down, and he had me nervous the whole night.
We had him nervous. I told him about the millions of people that were going to be watching this thing on TV, just to try to just get him to understand.
Block
just
that out.
Turn it around and just hand it to me. Turn around, hand it to John L., and you'll be okay. And but we came in the room, and I didn't have a roommate, so they said, well, will you help Kerwin out, relax him.
Yeah.
So we get in the room, and I get in, I grab the remote and lay on the bed, and he comes in right behind me, and he pushes the button on the TV to turn it on. So I turn it off with the remote. He doesn't see it. He gets up, he turns the TV on, I turn it off. We go through this for 5 minutes.
Well, he's from Mayo. I mean,
he's from Mayo.
This was way back in '85.
Well,
there wasn't any remotes around there that time.
We had seen remotes, everybody else. Well, I change the channel. He gets up and goes to the TV and changes the channel. And this goes on for another 5 minutes. So I get bored again. So I finally turn the TV back off, and he goes over to the TV, and this took the cake. He leaned back and pulled himself under the TV like a mechanic going under the car.
What's he looking for down there?
I'm not sure. But at that point, I had to go ahead and show him this is what you call a remote. And that was time to just get you relaxed and just enjoy yourself, get ready for the game.
I'm sure Testaverde had a better roommate.
Yeah. Well, in this ball game there, Florida, we just missed an opportunity. We're down inside the 6-yard line, I think 1st and goal, and then 1st and goal from the 2. Don't get in, end up settling for a field goal, but interesting play selection. They give the ball to Neal 3 times in a row there, and he's unable to punch it in, man.
Well, we got a good running back in Neal Anderson, so what we was trying to do, I really believe, is to try to jump over the top, get that 1 yard.
It was great to get going over the top.
The best way and the easiest way to get that 1 yard was to go on over the top, and Neal was a great leaper. He probably had about a 40-inch vertical jump at the combine. So I think that's a good
38,
41. Okay, my fault. But he was such a great leaper, and to give it to him 3 times, I think that was the right thing to do, and because it's such an easy way to get first down or touchdown or 1 yard, and.
Well, they have such a great defensive line. I mean, they got penetration on all 3 plays and made it tough. And again, we had that young, inexperienced line, and when they know, they feel like they know what you're going to do. They expect that. It was tough to handle them.
And before Neal got a chance to even get off the ground, somebody was grabbing his leg.
So it wasn't Neal's fault.
So it wasn't Neal's fault. No.
Well, we got the field goal there. When we come back, we'll give you the rest of the second quarter here on Gridiron Greats.
Hi, welcome to Progressive.com.
Honey, what's all this?
Insurance.
Progressive motorcycle insurance.
Yeah.
RV insurance?
Uh-huh.
Boat insurance. But we don't have any of those things.
Well, actually, I do. We do. We do.
Surprise! Let's bag these up.
Saving you money so you can buy more toys. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
Male enhancement. 5 years ago, few believed that this simple capsule could make a man larger. There was a lot of skepticism that a simple capsule could do such an amazing thing. A capsule that can make a man larger? But now, 5 years later, Extends has sold over 100 million capsules to men of all ages all over the world.
That's because the key ingredient in Extends has been scientifically proven to increase the size of that certain part of the male body. It's not a gimmick, it's real science. Now with over 100 million Extends capsules taken by men, it's hard to be skeptical. Extends was designed to do only one thing, make you larger regardless of age.
We're so sure Extends will make you larger, we're going to give you a week's supply absolutely free. All you pay for is the postage stamp.
A week's supply of Extends for the cost of a postage stamp. If Extends didn't do something pretty amazing, could we afford to do this? Call now for your free week's supply of Extends. You have nothing to lose, but a lot to gain.
This week on the Best Damn Sports Show, period. Thursday, we take a behind-the-scenes look at all the skin, sun, and fun. Check out what happens off stage and off the cuff with the Hooters girls.
Is there a horn I can blow? Buck Blue! Hooters, Buck Blue!
It's Best Damn's Hooters Uncovered.
Yeah, Hooters!
Behind the scenes at the 2008 Miss Hooters International Swimsuit Pageant. This week at 11.
Wednesday night on National Geographic.
So France is now going to have to kick from the 35-yard line. A lot of wind blowing in this Orange Bowl tonight, coming out of the east.
Well, it feels good up here in the booth. I'm sure it's helping the players a little bit stay cool. Nothing will kill you more than humidity in Florida.
Just a moment ago, you were looking at the return man for the Miami Hurricanes, J.C. Penney. High and deep. And it'll be taken by the Canes at the goal, at the 5, at the 10, the 15, and swarmed under at the 17 is Warren Williams, number 24.
Warren Williams is all over the field tonight. Looks like he might be the star that's born here in this intrastate rivalry. Warren Williams, great catch on the Miami Hurricane touchdown series. Then he scores the touchdown. Here he's running back kickoffs. He looks like a fine young player.
Anthony Williams made the tackle, so it might be a distant cousin as the Williams guys get a lot of action this evening.
We were talking about that a little earlier. I think there are more Williams in the phone book than there are Smiths or Browns.
First and 10, ball on the 18-yard line now for Miami. Vinny Testaverde is the quarterback, and Testaverde pitches. His pitch is going to go to Williams, and Williams comes to the near side, but Florida's defense is right in there to make the hit. Leon Pennington, our senior from nearby Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Well, you've not seen the Hurricanes go to their wide receivers that much tonight. They've kind of lived and died with their running game and throwing the ball to their backs. Florida's going to realize that pretty quick and shut down some of those passes to the backs and force the Hurricanes to go to their wide receivers and see if they can come up with some catches.
2nd and 9 on the 19, 3:32 to play in the first half. Testaverde 6 for 9, 84 yards. So he's having a nice performance. Testaverde dropping to throw, looks, throws a quick one, a safety valve out in the flat to Williams, and Williams is across the 25 to the 27-yard line before Florida's defense brings him down. Pennington and Alonzo Johnson combining for the Gators.
That was a well-designed screen. Vinny Testaverde invited the defense in. You'll see Lorenzo Johnson fighting to get inside. There's the screen wide open. Warren Williams with 3 offensive linemen in front of him. A nice play by the Hurricanes.
What they're taking a look at right now on the field is to see if he got the first down or not. And the chain gang comes across to measure it. A little over 3 minutes to play in the first half. Florida 10 and Miami 7. The 47th meeting between these two schools. Florida holds the edge, 24 wins to 22. for the Hurricanes. It started back in 1938.
Well, that's a great rivalry. This is a great state for high school football. The University of Miami has over 50 players on their team from Dade County and Broward County alone here in South Florida.
Of course, the Gators, I think, have 78 of 82 on the roster from the state of Florida. First and 10 at the 29-yard line as they get that first down, and the handoff goes to the fullback Highsmith, who turns upfield and gets across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Vernell Brown and Dwayne Glover make the hit.
Alonzo Johnson, excuse me, Jim, Alonzo Johnson. There's a lot of Alonzos on the field tonight. Alonzo Mitz, Alonzo Highsmith, Alonzo Johnson. But Alonzo Johnson almost made the play in the backfield right there, but he wasn't able to come up with the tackle.
2nd and 3, the ball on the 36-yard line for the Canes. Gator defense digging in, throwing up the 4-man front now, and the give-off goes to Oliver, and Oliver comes to the near side and is stopped by the Gators. Alonzo Johnson, again, that senior from Springfield, Florida, making the hit. He's 6'3", 228.
Big hit by Leon Pennington, too. That inside linebacker is a big hitter inside. Charlie Bailey's really high on the quality of play that he gets from Leon Pennington, the senior from Fort Lauderdale.
One of the goals that Charlie talked about that the defense had set for themselves was to have that better pursuit this year. 3rd and 1, and the ball on the 38-yard line. Testaverde's give goes to Alonzo Highsmith straight up the middle, and let's see if he got the first down or not. He's going to be close to it. Leon Pennington makes the hit. He did get the first down. Right to the 40. A minute 38 now to play, so this is putting a little pressure on Miami.
Yeah, time's running out here in the first half. They're capable of getting the ball down the field in a hurry, though. Testaverde, 2 years ago, barely lost the starting assignment to Bernie Kosar. Howard Snellenberger really wasn't sure who he was going to start 2 years ago at the quarterback position. So we know Vinny Testaverde has a lot of talent, and he can get that ball down the field in a hurry.
He's going to have Oliver and Melvin Bratton in the backfield this time around. Ball spotted down at the 40-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 as the clock ticks away. And here come the Canes as the Gator defense begins to stiffen using 3 down linemen. Waiting for the snap as they go to the split backfield off the eye. And Testaverde drops the throw. He's under some pressure back there. Throws out in the flat. It is incomplete. He was really getting the press put on him. He was intended for Willie Smith.
Again, Alonzo Johnson, Jim, pursuing from his linebacker position. Keith Williams, number 66 from Milton, Florida, made a fine rush on that play. You got to come up with some defensive pressure on the quarterback. You just can't allow him to stand back there and throw the ball down the field. And there was good pressure by the Gators on that play.
2nd and 10 at the 40-yard line. A minute 6 to play in the first half, and the Gators lead by a score of 10-7. Vinny Testaverde of Miami dropping back to throw under a lot of pressure back there, brought down at the 30, and a flag on the play in the backfield.
We mentioned at the beginning of the game, number 56, Clifford Charlton. He's one of the fastest players on the University of Florida team, and he was flying around Paul Berticelli, the offensive tackle, number 75. Look on the top of your screen. And there comes Clifford Charlton, and he was literally tackled by the offensive tackle, Berticelli. It's forcing the Canes back. I think the Gators accepted the penalty.
3rd and 19 at the 31-yard line now for Miami, and it's a minute to play in the first half showing on the clock.
You know, I played in the offensive line, and the worst thing in the world is to see a guy lined up across from you that can run a 4.5 40, because you know you got to move in a hurry. And he just beat the tackle across the line of scrimmage, and the tackle didn't have a chance. Clifford Charlton, Jim, is also from Tallahassee, Florida, the home of the Seminoles. I know they were disappointed seeing that young man leave the city.
Here's Vinny Testaverde on 3rd and 19 from the 31. The give off on the draw play is going to go to Alonzo Highsmith, and a fumble on the play. Let's see who recovered it. The Gators have recovered it. It looks like they've got the football at the 35-yard line.
It is. Florida
has recovered. Vernell Brown and Jarvis Williams. Let's take a look at it.
Big Alonzo Highsmith's going to give the football up. It looks like Jarvis Williams, the quarterback, number 26, hit the ball with his hat. The Gators are all over it. Good field position, the Miami 36-yard line for the Gators. 31 seconds, Jim.
10-7, and the Gators lead it in the first half. 31 seconds to play in this second quarter, and so once again, Kerwin Bell and his offense get a shot at putting some more points on the board before they go into the locker room at the half.
Well, to win, to be a champion, you got to take advantage of your opponent's mistakes. It's going to be interesting to see if the Gators can capitalize right here.
Pro I. Bell looking. Throws out in the flat. He's got his man, Wickman, on the far side, and he is out of bounds at the 18-yard line, wisely stepping out and stopping the clock, leaving 25 seconds to play.
This Brett Wickman is a very underrated football player. He's getting a chance to play quite a bit here this evening. He didn't play that much last year. We understand he's got some of the finest hands on the wide receiver corps for the University of Florida. He ran a very nice pattern there, getting out of bounds, stopping the clock.
Great possession receiver. 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line. That's where they say he went out. As Kerwin Bell goes with the I formation. And now there are flags on the field. And it looks like it might be for too much time, or it could be offsides. We'll see in a minute.
I think one of the offensive linemen is going to move prematurely here. The right guard, it looked like it was number 67, Jimmy Davis. Looks like he got a little anxious on that play.
And so that means that it'll be 1st and 15 on the 27. It's still 25 seconds showing on the clock. Kerwin Bell with the I formation. Receivers left and right. That is Wickman at the top of your screen. Chance to signals. Looks. Unloads. It is complete to Natil, and Natil is inside the 5 to the 3-yard line. I'll give you a check that on that. That was Walter Odom, the tight end, 82, the junior from Miami, 6'4", 225.
He's what you call a homeboy. He went to American High School here in Miami. You know he's excited about catching that ball. The Gators have not used their tight end that much on offense. Big Walter Odom barrels down to the 3-yard line. A tremendous catch by Walter Odom.
1st and goal at the 3, and Bell spreads him out just a little bit, goes with a pro offense in the split backfield behind him. Bell looks to throw for the end zone, throwing over there deep, and it is incomplete. It was intended for Ray McDonald, and he was just trying to loop that over the defensive backfield. McDonald is a senior from Belle Glade, Florida, at 5'11", 185. Tolbert Bain, the right corner, a sophomore from Miami, was the coverage man.
Fine coverage by Tolbert Bain. That's a scary play for a cornerback. It's a timing play. The quarterback takes 2 steps and throws to an area. The cornerback, of course, has no idea where his receiver's going to go. Tolbert Bain played that one well.
Florida has no timeouts remaining in this first half. They go with a slot offense to the left side. And here's Kerwin Bell rolling to the left. Throws, he's got his man, John L. Williams. Williams in the end zone, and they give him the touchdown. He's got the score.
You know, that was a great anticipation by John L. Williams. He felt Fleming on his hip. He knew that soon as he caught that ball, he was going to be hit. So he made up his mind to do the 360. Watch this. You'll see John L., who has the great soft hands. He's going to do the 360 on Bruce Fleming right there, and he just couldn't keep him out of the end zone. In terms of the fumble, all you need to do is hold that ball for an instant when you break that plane, and it's 6 points.
That's exactly right. Jeff Dawson with the extra point try gets his foot into it, and it is good. And Florida, with 6 seconds to play in the first half, has jumped out to a 17-7 lead. In case you're wondering why John David Francis is kicking from the 45-yard line of Miami, there was a personal foul penalty on the last play assessed against Miami, and he boots it and he squib kicks it across, and it bounces up, and let's see if Florida recovered it along the near sideline at the 30-yard line.
Great play. Who got on that ball?
The Gators did, and Eric Hodges gets credit for the recovery, number 10.
You got to believe that the Hurricanes were expecting that play. Jimmy Johnson protesting that the ball got outside the boundary, therefore the Gators could not recover it. But the referees are saying that Eric Hodges did in fact get on the ball before it got out of bounds. Florida's going to try the big field goal.
Okay, here they go, and the attempt will come from Jeff Dawson. Ray Criswell will hold. It will be spotted down at the 37, a 47-yard attempt. His foot is into it. It's got the distance, and it is good.
All right.
Florida has jumped out to a 20-7 lead as the half ends in the Orange Bowl in Miami.
Did we say that 16 seconds was an eternity?
Yes, we did.
10 points.
Yes, we did. 20-7. And, of course, Miami's got to go back now at the half and regroup. And Florida up by 13 points on the Hurricane.
And this game is far from over. The University of Florida is excited at this point in time, but the Miami Hurricanes have a lot of talent. And anyone that knows this series knows that this game is far from over.
Wow, 10 points there in about 16 seconds. And an interesting call, gutsy call, onside kick right before the halftime there in such a big ball game. Whose call was that? Was that first-year special team coach Rhett Anderson, or was that the head ball coach there, Galen?
Well, the head ball coach actually made the call. I made the suggestion.
Oh, so it was
very
you.
Strong suggestion. You know, we had such good field position. Figure
a penalty right after the
penalty right after.
Yeah.
If we onside kick it, if they recover it, they can't score. They don't have any time to score. I mean, the only way if they recover it and run it back at the same time, and that wasn't likely to happen. And unfortunately for me, that it worked out the way we planned it.
And you could tell Miami wasn't expecting it there either. They're in the retreat mode. And
Exactly.
Who was it that recovered the onside kick?
One of the best guys in the world, Eric Hodges, very good friend of mine, and he came down and recovered it. And when I was watching it on TV, I watched it once, and you couldn't really see who recovered it. But all of a sudden, you see him flying across the field with the ball, holding it up, celebrating. So that was a great thing to happen.
Kerwin, big quarter for us passing-wise there. You guys starting to open it up a little bit more, getting away from the running game and had some success through the air. What was going on out there?
Yeah, back then the offense was, let's run it until we can't run it, and then we'll throw it. You know, we all don't believe that way anymore. We got to throw it. Running back saying it's important now. Yeah, throw it to set up the run. Yeah. But no, we we went down earlier and Neil couldn't get us in, so
they took it out of his hands
3 straight times. They figured they'd give it to me and see what we could do.
Well, John L. did a great job of getting it in the end zone there.
No, we did. It was down. You know, time was running out.
Yeah.
Like I say, John L. had great hands, and get him the ball, and he made a great play.
Well, I'm watching the game here like it's actually happening, and John L. I'm about to scream at you for cutting back, and then you end up getting it into the end zone there. And if you don't score, we actually run out of time and go to halftime, but instead you get in and we subsequently get the onside kick. So a 10-point swing for the Gators there.
Well, it was just a basic flat route, and Curran got to me in time enough so I can do something with it, and just made a spin move and got into the end zone.
Good feel for the end zone there as usual, and so the Gators got a lead here. When we come back, we're going to return for the second half of this ball game between the University of Florida and the University of Miami. 1985 is the year. Live from the Orange Bowl on Gridiron Greats.
Male enhancement. 5 years ago, few believed that this simple capsule could make a man larger. There was a lot of skepticism that a simple capsule could do such an amazing thing. A capsule that can make a man larger? But now, 5 years later, Extends has sold over 100 million capsules to men of all ages all over the world.
That's because the key ingredient in Extends has been scientifically proven to increase the size of that certain part of the male body. It's not a gimmick, it's real science. Now with over 100 million Extends capsules taken by men, it's hard to be skeptical. Extends was designed to do only one thing, make you larger regardless of age.
We're so sure Extends will make you larger, we're going to give you a week's supply absolutely free. All you pay for is the postage stamp.
A week's supply of Extends for the cost of a postage stamp. If Extends didn't do something pretty amazing, could we afford to do this? Call now for your free week's supply of Extends. You have nothing to lose, but a lot to gain.
Take a journey down memory lane through baseball's past to a time where history comes alive. Baseball's golden age. See legendary heroes like Ruth, Williams, Robinson, and DiMaggio in a rare collection of footage that brings America's pastime to life like never before. It's an all-new episode. The Dynasty begins Sunday.
This week, it's Fox Reality Channel's new original Reality Binge.
Fox Reality Channel would like to invite you to check out our little experiment, Reality Binge, where we cup reality and then ask it to cough.
From tribal council to rose ceremonies, every Thursday, superhost Eric Toms takes you through the week of reality television with the most hilarious recap around. Bang! Reality Binge, taking a bite out of reality. Go to our website for times. A new original, only on Fox Reality Channel.
We're back in the Orange Bowl. Florida 20, Miami 7 as we get ready to start the third quarter of action on this balmy Florida evening and the first game of 1985 for both of these teams. The kickoff man, John David Francis, the young freshman walk-on from Stark, Florida, who will be booting away now for the University of Florida, and Miami gets a chance at the football. They trail by 13 points. The Gators having put on a magnificent couple of final minutes there in the first half of play. And so far, Jim, it looks like either John L. Williams or perhaps Ricky Nattil would be in strong running for votes as the Mid-State Federal Player of the game.
We need to remember that Miami waived the decision to receive the first half, so they're getting the ball here in the second half. They've decided to receive the ball.
Francis will boot it, and he kicks it high. It's going to go short and out of bounds along the far sideline in the vicinity of the 15-yard line.
You know, the guys on the kickoff covering team, they hate to see that ball go out of bounds because they're blasting away down the field. They're giving their body up, and they got to come back and do it again. So they'll be talking to the kicker next week and saying, hey, keep that ball in play. One time's enough.
So now we go back to the 35-yard line.
See, they're going back and talking to him right now. Say, hey, give us a break. Get that ball down there.
He is kicker size, though, 5'9", 150.
Well, he should listen. He'll be conscientious and listen.
Freshman walk-on making this squad and starting in front of 77,000 people here in the Orange Bowl, and he's acquitted himself well so far. Kerwin Bell came on in the situation last year, starting at quarterback in front of this huge crowd, and just did a super job.
Yeah, these young men have tremendous poise. You can't give them enough credit. They come out here and play great football, great major college football in our country.
He boots it high and deep. It'll be taken by J.C. Penney at the goal line. He's at the 5, the 10, the 15, the 20, the 25, the 30 across the 30-yard line to the 30-yard. So nice speed on the youngster from Youngstown, Ohio.
J.C. Penney, is that his name? He's big in the retail business, right?
France, they call him J.C. Penney.
He's got a career after this football season's over, I'm sure. I imagine he wishes he was the J.C. Penney.
Well, if he hits it big, you know, he could do great commercials.
Oh, you're not kidding.
First and 10 at the 33-yard line now for the Hurricanes of Miami. Florida digs in, going with a three-man front. And the give-off now goes to the fullback, straight up the middle, Alonzo Highsmith. And he picks up some tough yards out to the 38, 39-yard line. Keith Williams and Patrick Miller make the tackle for Florida.
Again, both these teams are quite similar on offense. They run from the pro set. They give the ball to the tailback as much as they can. They'll throw to the fullback in the flat and try and get the ball down the field to their talented wide receivers.
Testaverde right at 500 with a 7 for 14. Completing his first pass. The give-off goes to the fullback again, Alonzo Highsmith, and he makes the cross over the 40 to the 41-yard line. Brings up third down and short yardage now for the Canes as they try to get something going here in the third quarter, with Florida up on them by 13 points, 20-7.
The Gators have done a fine job shutting down the wide receivers for the Hurricanes in the first half.
You're correct about that. They go with the wing to the left side now. Third and short yardage at the 41. The give-off goes to Highsmith. He's got the first down to the 46-yard line. Alonzo Mitz, a senior from Fort Pierce, Florida, makes the tackle for the Gators.
That offensive line for Miami doing a fine job in this series. Paul Berticelli, number 79 at tackle. Paul O'Connor at left guard. Greg Riccozzi at center. Maurice Maddox at guard, Ned Davis at tackle, doing a fine job in this series.
Receivers left and right now on first and 10 from the 47 for the Hurricanes. Highsmith, 8 carries, 49 yards, having a fine evening. Testaverde dropping back to throw, looks, throws, and it is complete to Willie Smith, the tight end, cuts upfield to the 40-yard line. It's a first down. Jarvis Williams and Leon Pennington make the tackle for Florida.
Willie Smith just sneaks out in the flat, hesitates for a second or so, lets the linebackers drop deep, and then cuts across in front of him. And he's got the speed and talent to move the ball down the field in a hurry. And the Hurricanes are on the Gators' 40-yard line.
First down, 1st and 10 at the 40 for Vinny Testaverde, a junior from Elmont, New York.
Safety blitz.
Testaverde looking, and here they come at him. Throws, and it is incomplete. It was intended for Darrell Oliver coming out of the backfield. Leon Pennington, the coverage man for the University of Florida.
I tell you what, Leon Pennington was saying some Hail Marys on that coverage because Darrell Oliver had him whipped. Testaverde anticipated the break of Oliver, but was not able to get the ball there. Darrell Oliver ran a nice pattern against that blitz.
Smith, 2 catches for 21 yards this evening. Slot offense. The slot would be to the right side. As Vinny Testaverde drops to throw on 2nd and 10. Quick safety valve, and it goes out to Highsmith. Turns upfield. He's across the 30 and down inside the 25-yard line. Bounced out of bounds at the 21 by Vernell Brown, the senior free safety from Gainesville.
Every great offense will take advantage of the tight end and also the screen pass. Vinny Testaverde invites the Gators in, drops the ball over to Alonzo Highsmith, gets a great block from number 77, Paul O'Connor.
Tell you, Highsmith looked like Greg Louganis on that last play.
That was a 10-point dive there, wasn't it?
Highsmith has had 2 catches for 26 yards. 1st and 10, the ball on the 20 for Miami. The give-off now goes to Darrell Oliver, and Oliver on the counter inside the 20 and down to about the 16-yard line. Patrick Miller and Ricky Knight combined to stop him.
Hard to believe, but Darrell Oliver from the University of Miami and John L. Williams from the University of Florida played on the same high school team in Palatka, Florida. You can imagine what kind of a running game they had at Palatka.
I'll tell you what, Cam Gambalotti and Woody Stevens would like to have an entry like those two, wouldn't they?
Racehorses.
Oliver, 2 carries for 11 yards. 2nd and 5 at the 15, and Testaverde drops to throw. He's got time, throws out in the flat, and it is incomplete. It was intended for Michael Irvin, the flanker, way over in the left flat, and Jarvis Williams, the coverage man for Florida. And that look says it all.
Mike Irvin had a chance to catch that ball. Jarvis Williams gave him a little bit more cushion than he had to. Vinny Testaverde delivers the ball perfectly. Actually, it had a lot of zip on it. Watch the velocity on this ball. It seems to go faster the farther it gets down the field. Irvin just can't hold on to it.
Through a fastball. Williams, by the way, in '84, led returning defensive backs with interceptions. Jimmy Johnson along the sideline, 3rd and 5 on the 15. Vinny Testaverde rolling, looking, throws, and it is incomplete. Intended for Highsmith coming out of the backfield, and it falls as incomplete. And the coverage man was Arthur White, the inside linebacker there, the sophomore from Frostproof, Florida.
Jim, we might not have mentioned it, but of course, the University of Miami lost 2 great wide receivers, Eddie Brown and Stanley Shakespeare last year. Eddie Brown, #1 draft choice for the Cincinnati Bengals, and they're having a little bit of problem getting the ball to their wideouts here this evening.
Offensive line has done a good job for him, although Florida's defense has kept the pressure on. 4th and 5 on the 15-yard line, and so the field goal attempt by Greg Cox will come from the 27. It'll be a 37-yard attempt. David Kintai will hold. Kintai picks up the football, runs into the line, and gets across the 15-yard line before he is stopped. Patrick Miller stops him right there. That was David Kintai, the wide receiver, a junior from Satellite Beach, Florida on the Space Coast.
Big play by Patrick Miller. He snuffed that one out in a hurry. And that was a bit of a gamble by the Hurricanes. You know, they probably could have had a quick 3 early here in the second half, but they decided to try and get the 6, or at least get in position to get a first down to pursue the 6. It just didn't work. The Gator specialty teams, new coach Jerry Anderson, probably had them ready for that one.
1st and 10 on the 14-yard line now for the Gators. 11:24 to play in the 3rd quarter, and they've got a 20-7 lead. Kerwin Bell at quarterback, and he pitches. The pitch goes to Williams, comes to the near side, and comes out of bounds right at the line of scrimmage. And he is run out there by the good pursuit of the Miami defense. Kevin Fagan, a big senior from Lake Worth Leonard High School, takes him out.
Big is being modest. This kid bench presses 520-some pounds. He's one of the strongest players in college football. John L. Williams, 6 for 17, Jim.
and an excellent blocker. 2nd and 10 at the 14-yard line now for Florida. I formation and receivers left and right. The pitch goes to Neil Anderson. He comes across the 15, gets a very tough yard. And Jerome Brown, the right tackle, makes the stop. He's a junior from Brooksville. So that brings up the 3rd down for the Gators and long yardage.
Last year, the University of Florida had a tremendous football season. They were 9-1-1, and one of the reasons they did was they came up with a 3rd down consistency performance that was well over 60%, which is hard to believe you can convert that many 3rd downs.
3rd and 8, I formation. Kerwin Bell knows what he's going to do. He pitches to Neil Anderson. Anderson tries to get outside, then cuts back, and the Miami defense takes him down at the 17-yard line. So that brings on Ray Criswell, who will boot away.
Miami sends in 6 defensive backs. The Gators try and get a little cute, pitch the ball to their tailback, but the big lineman pursued and stopped that play. They're doing a great job of controlling the Florida running game. That Miami defense is.
Ray Criswell waiting for the snap, standing at the 2-yard line. Gets it off high. It's a little wobbly. It's going to bounce. Takes a high bounce and goes inside the 30, and they're going to let it roll down to the 25-yard line. And down for Florida, James Massey, a junior from Monticello, Florida.
Well, the word got out here that we were watching this game from up here in the touchdown terrace, and offensive guys dominating. So a guy that played on the defense had to join us here. A guy that, as a wide receiver, I got to be honest with you, Jarvis, I'm a little intimidated by you, but just happy that I never had to line up on the other side of the field from you. Appreciate you joining us here today, man.
Well, I decided to jump in my vehicle and come on over and seen all the offensive guys, so I said, let me join in. We did play a little bit of defense.
It's a
Not
pleasure.
much, though.
Oh, shoot. You guys, big stop there. We lead 20-7 right now. They try the fake field goal. Patrick Miller snuffs that one out there.
Right.
But you guys returned 9 of 11 starters from a pretty good defense in 1984, and pretty high expectation level, I guess, from you guys on that side of the ball.
It was because, the previous year we played great defense, offense, we had a whole package, but, coming to the season, we knew we had a lot of experience, but we still knew we had a lot of younger people that we had to work with, but, we knew Miami was going to be good. I think the offensive line was very well talented, and we knew they was going to run the ball against us, so we knew we just had to stay in there, and our offense was going to click sooner or later.
So much talent on that side of the ball for the Gators that you're actually playing out of position. I mean, I think a lot of Gator fans, when I first noticed that you were playing corner there, I didn't even remember that. But how was that? We all remember you knocking people out from the safety position, but corner, I don't remember that maybe suiting you quite as well.
I know it. They said I was a little too aggressive at times in the corner. I did some things that I shouldn't do, come up a lot of times, but I enjoy playing the game. When you enjoy playing the game, you're going to be aggressive. And playing corner, you had your technique right. You had to be a little more disciplined, but they said they couldn't keep me there, so they had to move me to safety and just tell me just run wherever.
And guys always seem to find that position that suits them the best. The guy that we got to see out there for the first time in his college career, Michael Irvin, actually lined up across from you. What was it like playing against him? He was just a freshman. Nobody really knew who he was, right?
And that was the thing about it. Sometimes things you don't know sometimes suits you well because, he turned out to be a great football player, no doubt about it. But we knew they were young. They were young at the wide receiver. They lost Eddie Brown the year before, and we knew that they had some talented offensive players, especially at running back, in the offensive line. So we knew they were going to run the ball. So, like I say, Michael Irvin, Brian Blaze, a lot of guys that, appear later on, they did a great job. But we just stuck in there. Just bend but don't break defense.
Some pretty big-time names you mentioned there. Always between that Miami and Florida series, you have guys that would go on to represent in the NFL pretty well, and that must have been kind of cool to look back and see some of those guys that you played against excelling at the next level.
Oh, no doubt, because you got to think about it now. I was young too.
Yeah.
Being a sophomore, even though I had 1 year under my belt, I was young. So, I was appointed more of a leader at that time because I was played when I was so young. It's amazing what a year do for you, experience-wise. So, everything turned out well. But like I said, we had to stay in the game, be disciplined, and just really the key was not give up any big plays.
So Jarvis and the rest of that Gator defense playing pretty good right now, up 20-7. And when we come back, the Gators would actually have to punt on their next possession. So when we return, it'll be Miami ball on 26-yard line here on Gridiron Greats.
Male enhancement. 5 years ago, few believed that this simple capsule could make a man larger. There was a lot of skepticism that a simple capsule could do such an amazing thing. A capsule that can make a man larger? But now, 5 years later, Extends has sold over 100 million capsules to men of all ages all over the world.
That's because the key ingredient in Extends has been scientifically proven to increase the size of that certain part of the male body. It's not a gimmick, it's real science. Now with over 100 million Extends capsules taken by men, it's hard to be skeptical. Extends was designed to do only one thing, make you larger regardless of age.
We're so sure Extends will make you larger, we're going to give you a week's supply absolutely free. All you pay for is the postage stamp.
A week's supply of Extends for the cost of a postage stamp. If Extends didn't do something pretty amazing, could we afford to do this? Call now for your free week's supply of Extends. You have nothing to lose, but a lot to gain.
The nation's best fight for the title on Fox College Sports. The 2008 Boat U.S. National Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship. 100 teams from the nation's top conferences square off for thousands in scholarship money and the title of national champion. The 2008 Boat U.S. National Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship on Fox College Sports every Wednesday at 8, starting October 1st. Every game, every score, every highlight. It's the final score. 30 minutes every night of the week, bringing you all the action from the world of sports. It's the one show where serious sports fans go for serious sports highlights. The Final Score, presented by DirecTV. Weeknights on FSN.
The stage is set for the biggest show on earth. This season, Barclays Premier League is coming right at you. Catch the epic showdowns. Here we go! Upsets. And world-class stars all season long. The top teams. The top players. Live the drama.
The race is still alive!
The Barclays Premier League all season long on FSC.
Cruise over to the Fox Movie Channel Drive-In. Pull up and park on the couch for double features all month long.
My parents are going away this weekend.
Rock and roll! Tune in for Crazy Teen Week. It wouldn't be a drive-in without some of these adolescent freeloaders.
I know the procedure.
This is what I call a party!
Trust me. Beat the heat with us Monday through Thursday at the Drive-In with Fox Movie Channel.
1st and 10 at the 25-yard line now for the Canes. That's Galen Hall along the sideline, and he is gesturing with his hands as he talks on the headset to the coaches up above who are watching the action below and making their recommendations. I formation as Testaverde drops the throw, throws a quick one out in the flat to Smith, who has stacked up and brought down at the 34-yard line, close to a first down. And Ron Moten, a junior from Clearwater, Florida, 58, made the tackle for the Gators.
Looks like it might have been roughing the passer on the play. Someone got a little anxious and hit the quarterback, hit Vinny Testaverde after he'd released the ball. They're discussing it with the Hurricanes right now.
Well, let's take a look at it.
Vinny drops back into the pocket. You'll see Clifford Charlton coming back from the backside and hit him a little bit late, and looked like he threw an arm at the head, and they don't tolerate that in college football.
Well, that's the call, and that's going to move the football now to the 40-yard line and give Miami pretty good field possession. They've got the football on the near side hash mark. Their wide side would be to the left on 1st and 10 at the 41. Dropping back is Testaverde, being pressed back there, being chased by Florida, trying to run out of it, and slides down at the 44-yard line, so he still was able to pick up a little yardage. Robb and Moten were the pressure guys for Florida that were really after him, ran him out of the pocket.
Not only is he big, but he's intelligent. He just showed us right there that he wasn't about to get hit in open field by any linebacker, so he did a hook slide into the 44-yard line.
6'5", 218, a junior getting his opportunity to start for the Hurricanes. 2nd and 7 now, the ball at the 44.
Yeah, you can't play quarterback in a cast. I guarantee you that.
Vinny drops back, looks. He's again being pushed out, throws, and it is complete to the midfield stripe. Brought down at the 48-yard line of Florida to Michael Irvin, and Curtis Stacy makes the tackle, along with Ricky Knight.
Again, Vinny Testaverde showing the poise that you have to have in major college football. Pumps the ball down the field, scoots out to the right, finds Michael Irvin in the flat. Irvin does a fine job of coming back for the football. Watch the Gator defense get on that football. They're going to be about 5 or 6 hats on Irvin in a hurry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how you play team defense.
8 minutes and 25 seconds to play in the third quarter. The Gators lead 20-7. Miami's got possession of the football in Florida territory. It is again Melvin Bratton 5 getting the call, and he goes inside the 45 to the 44-yard line. Rondi Weston, a freshman from Belle Glade, Florida, at 6'5", 256, makes the tackle.
Belle Glade's not that far up the road. I'm sure Rodney Weston has some family here at this game tonight.
Well, he and Ray McDonald, who's also from Belle Glade, and they were both excellent athletes, all-around athletes. McDonald, outstanding track man, and Weston was fine in basketball too. 2nd and 7 at the 44, and Testaverde looks to throw. He's got his man wide open at the 40, or rather at the 35-yard line. We're talking about Brian Blades, a senior from Fort Lauderdale, receiver, brought down by Scott Armstrong, the junior from Ocala.
Miami's having a lot of success letting the linebackers drop back, drifting their wide receivers or their tight end across in front. Brian Blades was in about neutral gear for about 5 seconds waiting for the delivery. Finally received the ball, picks up a first down for the Hurricanes.
At the 33, 1st and 10 for the Canes. 7:25 to play in the third quarter. Vinny Testaverde with a pro offense with the eye, and the give-off goes to Daryl Oliver, and Oliver gets good yardage to the 27-yard line before Scott Armstrong and Ron Moten combine to make the tackle for Florida.
You're looking at a very intelligent offensive series. Miami does not come out here and get greedy. They're not trying to get it all back instantly. They're hitting the wide receivers in the gaps in the zone. They're pitching the ball to the tailback. They're just moving the ball down the field consistently at this point.
They've moved it down to the 27, and it's 2nd and 4. Testaverde with a split backfield behind him. Florida trying to put the pressure on, and they do. He throws that little safety valve out to Melvin Bratton, and Bratton inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Jarvis Williams, the right corner, makes the hit for Florida.
Anytime Melvin Bratton gets open, it's extremely dangerous for the defense. Here again, Miami taking advantage of the screen. This must be the 3rd or 4th time they've run this play so successfully. Gets the ball out. There's your 3 big offensive linemen in front. Big number 74 for the Hurricanes is throwing the block up front. Number 74, Greg Rakowski, fine block.
Bratton had 2 catches this evening. 1st and 10 on the 17-yard line. Testaverde looks, and he's under pressure and tosses that one out, and it is caught for a complete pass. But that's not exactly the way they draw him up. It wasn't pretty, but it worked.
George Myra became famous. One of the reasons he became famous here in Miami, he threw a pass left-handed one time against the Gators for a touchdown. He's normally right-handed, but he did the same type of thing. That's how Fran Tarkenton made a living for 15 years in the NFL, throwing with either hand.
5 minutes and 35 seconds to play in the third quarter. Florida leading Miami 20-7. The Hurricanes with a football on the 17. 2nd down, and the give-off goes to Bratton. Bratton right up the middle and down inside the 5 for the 3. Vernell Brown, the free safety, makes the tackle.
This play is similar to the one that Warren Williams ran for a touchdown earlier. Melvin Bratton hits on the quick trap. He's through the line of scrimmage so fast here. The linebackers, Scott Armstrong, doesn't have a chance. The running back is blistering right by him. The secondary is forced to make the tackle. Curtis Stacy, Vernell Brown. Hurricanes are threatening.
1st and goal at the 3. Testaverde with the 2 tight ends. The give-off goes to the fullback, and he is stopped. Alonzo Highsmith, and now he gets over. the line to score. Four minutes and 58 seconds to play in the third quarter. And Miami is on the board, trying to play catch-up with Florida. The Gators lead by a score of 20-13.
Well, the initial hit was big by the Gator defense, but Alonzo Highsmith was so strong, he refused to go down. The linebackers didn't wrap him up, and he's in the end zone for 6.
Cox will attempt the extra point. Foot is into it, and it is good. And so the Hurricanes have 14 points. Florida has 20. We'll be back, but first, these messages.
Miami would force the Gators to punt on their next possession. The Hurricanes take over at the Gator 42-yard line.
3 minutes and 29 seconds to play in the third quarter, and Florida hanging on to that 20-14 lead.
That goal line, Jim, is like a magnet. Anytime you get the ball inside your opponent's 50-yard line, that goal line starts attracting you.
Ball on the 42-yard line. Receivers left and right, and the pro set being used by the Hurricanes. The give off goes to Alonzo Highsmith, and he swarmed under at the line as the Gator defense gets tough and really puts the pressure on. But there is a flag on the play. Arthur White, the inside linebacker, a sophomore from Frostproof, made the tackle. Illegal motion, and it's against the University of Miami.
On the right side of the line of scrimmage, you'll see the right tackle, number 70 for the Hurricanes. Big Ed Davis is a little premature on the snap, and it costs the Hurricanes 5 yards.
So that's going to move the football to the 47-yard line.
Gives the Gators a little bit more breathing room.
3 minutes, 23 seconds to play in the third quarter. Testaverde dropping to throw. Gators coming in at him, and it is complete. To the 35-yard line to Brian Blades. Curtis Stacy and Vernell Brown make the stop.
Once again, Vinny Testaverde is getting the time that allows his wide receivers or his tight end to drag across the middle. The defensive backs are dropping in their zones. Here comes Blades dragging across the middle. This must be the fourth or fifth pass that either the tight end or a wide receiver has caught in that area tonight.
Second down, 10 yards to go. And the ball on the 33-yard line for Miami, driving on Florida. The give off now is going to go to Melvin Bratton, trying to turn upfield. He's inside the 30, brought down at the 28-yard line. So he has got the first down. Curtis Stacy, a senior from Bronson, Florida, makes a tackle on Bratton, the sophomore from Miami.
Looks like there's an injury, Jim, on the field. Number 24, Ricky Knight, is down about the 34-yard line.
We've had one play while we were away. Melvin Bratton carried inside the 25 to the 24-yard line for the Hurricanes of Miami.
Alonzo Johnson made the play for the Gators. Looks like about second and 6 or 7 for the Canes.
At the 24-yard line, Vinny Testaverde at the line. A split backfield behind the young New Yorker. He's dropping way back to throw, dumps one out to Bratton, who is drilled right at the 22-yard line by Leon Pennington, the inside linebacker, a senior from Fort Lauderdale.
That's a tough situation for an inside linebacker. He's got to cover a tailback with 4.5, 4.4 speed. That was a great play by Leon Pennington.
Third down coming up now for Miami, and 4 on the 22-yard line. So this is a big defensive play for the Gators.
Looks like they're going to come with a blitz. Looks like they're going to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, try and force him to get rid of the ball in a hurry.
Testaverde dropping back, throws out into the flat to Bratton. Bratton's got the first down across the 15-yard line to the 14. Arthur White drags him down.
We're talking about how tough it is for that linebacker to cover a back. Arthur White was forced into the coverage on Melvin Bratton. Melvin Bratton's just got too much speed for him. Arthur White's got real good speed for his size, but Melvin Bratton's a tailback, and it's a little bit of a mismatch.
So that gives the Hurricanes a first down inside the 15 at the 14 and keeps their drive alive. Bratton's had 3 catches for 21 yards this evening. Real solid player. Vinny Testaverde, the quarterback. 20 seconds to play in the third quarter. The give off goes to Highsmith right up the middle, gets nowhere. Florida's defense sniffed that one out. Arthur White, the first one to greet him there, the sophomore from Frostproof.
Arthur White's got to have the tenacity and the willingness to hit somebody as an inside linebacker, and on the play before, he's got to have the speed to cover a Melvin Bratton.
Florida 20, Miami 14. We'll be right back after this.
Jarvis, man, we're losing a little steam here on the defensive side. They got the touchdown there, and now they're driving again. Interestingly enough, last year in 1984, the Florida defense only gave up 3 rushing touchdowns. Now tonight, already 2 for the Hurricanes. So what's going on at this point? The defense starting to suck wind a little bit?
Well, that and plus I think they kind of figures it out because, like I say, Testaverde was, he was young too. So they did a lot of little short passes, nothing that was real, dangerous. They protected him a lot. You know what I'm saying? Look, Darryl Oliver hit, a couple of runs up the middle, and like I said, they used the offensive line. So they didn't do anything real deep on us. They tried. I think they tried Curtis Stacy one time real deep, and we was there for that. So they had a smart game plan for us.
I think you look at this game here, 80-something thousand people. I think it was the largest crowd to watch a college or pro game up until that point in time. This was a huge rivalry. I never got a chance to play Miami while I was there. You guys had the opportunity to play year in and year out. But if you talk to Gator fans, even today, most of them say that they hate Miami, and Miami fans hate the Gators, and we don't even play the way that we used to play. Was this a rivalry of mutual respect on the field, or were you guys kind of trash talking back and forth like most people think of Miami doing?
Well, I don't think we trash talked that much back then. Miami, Florida game, we didn't trash talk.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like we did. But I can really and truly believe that Jarvis trash talked quite a bit, because he did a lot of trash talking back in high school. So I'm quite sure he trash talked back then.
And on the practice field also.
This was about to start,
All good stuff, all good stuff.
And really with Coach Johnson and then Butch Davis coming on board, I mean, they go into the 4-3, cover 2, pressure you, get after you with those great front 4 guys. This is about the beginning of that trash talking, because they got so confident. They started dominating people so good.
They got Michael Irvin coming in who can hold his own in a trash talking.
But this was
about the beginning of it.
It was the beginning also of the state of Florida kind of being the epicenter of college football too. Miami won the national championship in '83. You guys won the SEC championship in '84. So a lot of attention from the college football landscape had just started to turn to the state of Florida as well. Neil, now you were a guy that had a great career up until this point in time. I think we talked to John L. earlier about how he ended up at Florida. What about you? How'd you end up being a Gator?
Well, I was recruited by, similar to Johnny L., most schools in the country, and for me, I'm just a good old boy from Gracefield, a small town of about 2,500 people, and I wasn't going too far from home. I had never been on an airplane until I was starting to be recruited, and so I knew I wanted to stay somewhere, so my parents could come watch me play, and it came down to the final decision was going to be between the University of Florida, Auburn, and Alabama. So many schools had been coming down to my little hometown, though, that or one hotel of about 10 rooms. We figured out that Auburn had booked 3 rooms, and they had it seemed like just endless, so nobody else could get it. No other schools could come in and get those rooms. They could stay in a different city and drive in, but it was pretty hectic, and the toughest part of it all was calling Bear Bryant and telling him no, that I wasn't going to be a part of his program. He told me they were going to the eye from the wishbone, and I didn't believe it. I thought it was a recruiting talk. But the next year they did it, but in the end, I think I made it as a great decision. Very happy to be here at the University of Florida.
Obviously a great decision. They refer to you and John L. as a rural delivery, and in fact, all you guys come from pretty small towns. Any of them smaller than Mayo, or was that about the smallest?
No. Well, I went home with Kerwin once, and he knows the true story again. I went home with him once, and we had to stop. And it seemed like it didn't catch him off guard. We stopped for, it was like a chicken crossing. and we stopped and they crossed the road, and I was shocked, but you could tell by the look, and his reaction that it was just what you did. You stop and let the chickens cross, and about like a train, and about 5 minutes later you can go ahead. So, we didn't have any places, come from any places as small as Mayo.
To tell you, sort of how old we're getting, Chris, is that, me and Neil played together. We're from the small town. And this year I just recruited a kid, J.J. Laster, who's from Graceville. Great running back. He's no
Do they know who Neil is in Graceville?
Oh, man, they got all kind of stories about Neil Anderson. We used all those. I tried to build Neil's name up a lot just so I could have a chance to get him. But we're hoping that he's going to come in and help Jacksonville. He's a great tailback. Neil sold me on him. So I told Neil if he don't work out, it's going to be his
on him, right?
All on him.
He's a very talented young man, and high school career rushed for over 7,000 yards. So got a lot of talent.
For the JU Dolphins there.
Yep.
Well, good. Well, when we come back, it's time for the fourth quarter. We'll see if the Florida Gators can kind of get the momentum back on their side after a quick timeout.
Male enhancement. 5 years ago, few believed that this simple capsule could make a man larger. There was a lot of skepticism that a simple capsule could do such an amazing thing. A capsule that can make a man larger? But now, 5 years later, Extends has sold over 100 million capsules to men of all ages all over the world.
That's because the key ingredient in Extends has been scientifically proven to increase the size of that certain part of the male body. It's not a gimmick. It's real science.
Hello, I'm Dr. Stein, founder of the Stein Medical Institute, and I'm here to talk to you about Extends. Extends is a revolutionary tablet designed to do one main thing, to increase the size of that certain part of the male body and promote an overall better love life. I have personally researched the formula in Extends and found it to be truly effective.
We're so sure Extends will make you larger, we're going to give you a week's supply absolutely free. All you pay for is the postage stamp.
A week's supply of Extends for the cost of a postage stamp. If Extends didn't do something pretty amazing, could we afford to do this?
What have you got there, honey?
I ordered a male enhancement product called Extends.
Male enhancement. You mean like building more muscles?
No, you know, male enhancement.
Does that really work?
We're so confident that this will work for you that we'll make you this guarantee. If you don't see real noticeable growth, it costs you nothing.
This made me a heck of a lot bigger. So I've been really happy and I get bigger.
Well, what do you want me to tell you? It got bigger.
Well, things become bigger.
And what are your results?
I'm bigger.
You're bigger, and you're not embarrassed to see this.
Ah, no way.
We're so sure Extends will make you larger, we're going to give you a week's supply absolutely free. All you pay for is a postage stamp.
A week's supply of Extends for the cost of a postage stamp. Call now for your free week's supply of Extends. You have nothing to lose, but a lot to gain.
It's the Remarkable series that uncovers the most spectacular tales in sports history. Amazing sports stories. Incredible. Unbelievable. And 100% true. These are the greatest stories never told. This week, it's the tale of golf's greatest con man. Sunday.
Fox Business, taking business news to the next level. A new approach, attitude, and edge. Experienced and straightforward. One team covers it best. Trade trends, market moves, personal finance. No nonsense, no jargon. Just smart and savvy insight. Money moves that make sense. End of story. Fox Business Network. A world of business. Start here, start now. To find Fox Business, check your local listings or log on to foxbusiness.com today.
The Gators have got to be thinking, we will give up 3 points here, but we got to fight, bite, and scratch, and refuse to give up the 6. On the other hand, the Canes are saying we got to get in that end zone to get ahead.
Vinny Testaverde, the quarterback, 2nd and 9. Drops back. He's got the time to unload. He does, and it is was it caught?
It bounced.
Incomplete. Incomplete in the end zone. It was intended for good old number 5, Melvin Bratton, but Jarvis Williams, the coverage man there, and the ball bounced off the turf.
He was open for an instant. The ball was a little bit low. It bounced into the receiver. No good.
So that means 3rd down, 9, and the ball on the 13-yard line. Jarvis Williams, you looked at just a moment ago, that sophomore from Palatka. A slot offense now being used by the Hurricanes as Vinny Testaverde on 3rd down drops back again, and he's being pressed by Florida, chased out of the pocket, runs to the near side. Testaverde close to the touchdown in the corner. He's got it. Testaverde runs into the end zone himself.
This kid's got a lot of talent. He's able to run with the football himself. What happens is you'll see number 98, Patrick Miller, come in, and he misses the tackle. Testaverde senses him coming. He dodges Miller, and then once he's outside, he's gone. That's the problem with the blitz. It's a sellout, and Testaverde gets in by an inch in the end zone. The Hurricanes are about to take the lead.
Greg Cox to attempt the extra point. David Kintai will hold. Kintai 11, Cox 25. We've got a tie ball game right now, 20-20, and Miami can go up on the toe of Greg Cox.
If you have a quarterback that doesn't have mobility, you're dead in the water right there. But Testaverde had the athletic ability to escape to the outside. Once he got to the outside, there was no one there because the Gators had blitzed everyone right up the middle. And the defensive backs had dropped back in coverage. By the time they reacted, he was in the end zone.
So Greg Cox, 25, will try the extra point. David Kintai, a receiver, will hold, waiting for the snap. And Cox moves to it, and it is good. And Miami goes up by a score of 21-20. Ricky Nattiel is the run-back man for the University of Florida, and he is waiting for the kick, which will come from Mark Seelig of the University of Miami, as Seelig moves to the football and boots it high and deep. And there it goes, and dropping down on one knee is Frankie Neal. So they bring it out to the 20, and the Gators will take over the football, trailing by 1 point. Miami scoring drive, 10 plays, 58 yards. Time of possession, 3:44. Testaverde's 13-yard run. The extra point by Cox, and it was kicked.
Now, I guess you'd have to say total domination in the third quarter by that Miami offense. The Gators are going to have to meet the challenge here in the fourth quarter, and they have the talent to do it. That's what makes college football so exciting. You never know what's going to happen.
1st and 10, the ball on the 20-yard line now. Kerwin Bell, he is 10 for 15, 131 yards, I formation. Receivers left and right, motion man coming to the near side, Frankie Neal. And Kerwin Bell throws out into the flat, and he's got Wickman, and Wickman goes to the 26-yard line before he is being taken out by Don Ellis.
I think you're going to see Florida throw the ball a lot more in the fourth quarter. They just haven't been able to get on track with that running game. They've got talented wide receivers. They've got a tremendous young quarterback in Kerwin Bell, and you got to believe they're going to put the ball in the air a little bit more here in the fourth quarter. Of course, two things can happen, good and bad. That's a scary thing about throwing the ball.
Wickman's having a nice night, 3 for 30. 2nd and 4, ball on the 26-yard line as Kerwin Bell quickly unloads, and he's got his man incomplete, in and out of the hands of Frankie Neal, and you rarely see that young man drop a ball.
Frankie had some running room out there, but that swing pass is that's a dangerous pass for the receiver. He's about to get hit instantly when he catches that ball, but he needs to concentrate on it. Frankie realizes that.
Well, Kerwin Bell is rallying the troops. 6'3", 201, a sophomore from a little town called Dave, Florida. Population 250. I'm sorry, 249, because Kerwin's back in school now. 3rd and 4, ball on the 26-yard line. Bell drops the throw. He's under pressure. Blocked. Big block by the University of Miami's Jerome Brown, number 98. That brings on Ray Criswell.
Nice pressure again up front. You see the Hurricanes running a bit of a stunt. Kerwin gets hit just before he releases the ball. Miami wins that series on defense. Ray Criswell, one of the best punters in the nation, gets the call again for the Gators.
He'll boot away. He's standing on the 10. Gets it off nicely.
A rocket.
Way high. It'll be taken by Perryman at the 25. He is drilled right there at the 25 by Miller. Pat Miller, a senior from Panama City, Florida, an outside linebacker. So now the Canes take over the football with a 21-20 lead, 1st and 10, and they're on their own 25-yard line.
Well, you're going to see real quick who's got the killer instinct here. The University of Miami has a chance to really stick it to the University of Florida. The Gators have a chance to get back in this game in a hurry by stuffing the Hurricanes in their own territory. This is going to be a very, very interesting series.
They begin from the 25-yard line. I formation with the receivers left and right for Vinny Testaverde, who has gone all the way at quarterback tonight. Testaverde drops the throw under a little pressure, dumps a little swing pass out. As he dumps that one out, to his running back, number 37, Darrell Oliver. And Oliver carries forward before he's brought down by Jarvis Williams. And the carry was to the 30-yard line. That's where they're going to spot it down, right on the 30.
It's got to be at least the 6th or 7th screen that the University of Miami has run tonight in this ball game.
The give goes to the fullback, Darrell Oliver, from Vinny Testaverde. Clifford Charlton brings him down right at the line of scrimmage. And so the ball remains right at the vicinity of the 30-yard line, and that brings up a 3rd down.
We're talking about who wants to take control of this ball game. Well, we're going to find out some information on that right now. Big 3rd down here early in the 4th quarter.
3rd and 5, the ball on the 31-yard line for the Hurricanes of Miami, and the Gators of Florida dig in. Testaverde takes a long look and a long count. Now Testaverde drops the throw, looks, throws, and it is complete to the 38-yard line, and he drops the football. And let's see what happened. It was recovered by Miami. Leon Pennington, the inside linebacker, put the pressure on.
They might have lost the 1st down on that fumble. That could have been a big play. It looks like the ball came, yes, they did. It's going to force him into 4th down. He had the 1st down made. He catches the ball near the 40, the 39, well in advance of the yardstick. That would have been a 1st down. A big break for the University of Florida.
So that means now that Miami is going to kick away. And the punter is Jeff Beagles as he boots high. It'll be Natil at the 20, and he comes out of bounds here on the near side at the 26-yard line.
Oh, my goodness. Florida was confused as to what down it was going to be. They didn't get the punt return team on the field. Looks like the Hurricanes are going to get a 1st down on this penalty.
There's the flag across the field, and they bring it back now. So the Hurricanes get a break. And a tough one for Florida.
Well, Florida got the break on the play before when the ball was fumbled out of bounds short of the 1st down. The players on the sideline were confused. They didn't know if it was a 1st down or 4th down. Miami quick snaps the ball. They send their punt team out there in a hurry, and they just caught the Gator punt return team napping. Penalty, 1st down, Miami.
So that gives the Hurricanes the football at their 38-yard line, and again, it keeps that Gator defense on the field. 13 minutes, 11 seconds to play in our football game as Miami leads 21-20. Vinny Testaverde looks the throw, goes long, and it is incomplete. It was intended deep for Michael Irvin, and Stacy Curtis gave very good coverage.
Yeah, Curtis Stacy had a lot of guts on it. Yeah, Jim, Curtis Stacy had a lot of guts on that play. He was step for step with the receiver. That's just a tremendous defensive play.
Great move. So the ball remains at the 38-yard line, and it'll be 2nd down and 10. Testaverde's 18 for 27, 187 yards, so he's having a fine evening. Again, he drops the throw, and he's got his man incomplete. In and out of the hands of Melvin Bratton as Leon Pennington puts a hit on him.
Now that's been a successful play for Miami in the 2nd half, getting the ball out there to their tailback who's being covered man for man by an inside linebacker. Pennington is just a second late, but Bratton juggles the ball and allows Pennington to get there and knock the ball away. Nice hustle by Leon Pennington.
You can see these guys are in the game. They're not playing, but they're standing up watching just a moment ago. 3rd and 10. And the ball at the 38-yard line. A split backfield behind Testaverde. He looks to pass. He throws, and it is incomplete. Intended for Irvin on the post pattern, but goes incomplete. Ricky Knight, good coverage for the University of Florida.
Nice play, Ricky Knight. Again, Vinny Testaverde had some time. It looked like he got the time illegally, though, because someone had clamped a hold of a Gator defender.
There was a flag on the play. It's apparently against Miami because they're talking to the defensive captains of Florida, and it looks like they're going to decline it, and that means that the Hurricanes will kick away. Jeff Beagles, a 6', 170-pound sophomore from Scottsdale, Arizona, Number 38 will do the kicking.
You notice how quickly the Gator punt return team got on the field this time.
They certainly did.
Not going to make that mistake twice.
Ricky Nattiel, number 89, what a fine returner he is too, and he's having a good evening as a receiver. Waiting for the snap now as Spiegels, and he boots it high. Nattiel, fair catch at the 21-yard line. And so that means first down for the Gators with 12 minutes and 45 seconds to play in this football game. Miami 21, Florida 20, and here comes Spiegels off the field after that nice high boot. And here the Gators take over the football. Nattiel led the nation in punt returns in '84, an average of almost 16 yards per return. But he wisely called for the fair catch on that, giving his team excellent field position. I formation, and the motion man would be Frankie Neal, 21, as Kerwin Bell drops, throws out in the flat, and he's got his man at the 28-yard line, and that would be Frankie Neal, the junior from Okeechobee, Florida.
Well, we got 12 minutes and 33 seconds in the fourth quarter. Plenty of time for both teams to score a lot of points. We keep mentioning you're going to see the ball in the air. I feel a lot more as the clock ticks down here in the fourth quarter when the University of Florida has the ball. They just haven't been able to run it all tonight with any consistency. So Kerwin Bell's going to have to air it out a little bit.
A little over 12 minutes to play. A motion man coming to the near side, Ray McDonald. Kerwin Bell gives to the fullback, and he goes straight up the middle. Neil Anderson, a running back, a senior from Graceville, Florida. Jerome Brown, the right tackle, making the stop.
You know, with the exception of the first offensive series of the ball game tonight, the Gators just have not been able to run the ball. Kerwin's having a decent night, 12 for 19, 142 yards.
Very good stats for that young man. Third down, 4 at the 27-yard line.
I think what's made the Miami Hurricanes successful, Miami Hurricane offense successful tonight is that they haven't been greedy. They use the screen, they use the draw, they use the drag route to their tight end or wide receiver. I think you'll see Florida coming back with pretty much that same kind of routine to keep possession of the ball and move it consistently down the field.
So that means, as you just took a look at the chains just a moment ago, we misread it thinking it was 4 yards. It's third and less than a yard to go. The ball on the 30-yard line, just across the 30, between the 30 and the 31-yard line. As here comes Florida out of the huddle. Kerwin Bell with the two big backs behind him. Kerwin Bell on the quarterback keeper. Let's see if he's got the first down.
Good movement by the offensive line there, Jim Gallagher. It looks like it's going to be a first down for the Gators. At least they'll get another chance with the ball.
Well, they want to keep their drive alive, and they also want to take the time to eat up the clock and go in front of the Hurricanes.
Kerwin Bell behind Big Jeff Zimmerman, his 305-pound offensive guard, who just smothers the opposition on that play. If you're going to quarterback sneak, you want to sneak behind Jeff Zimmerman as often as possible.
I'll tell you, they could use him to drain off the field because whatever side he walks to, it's going to tilt. And he's a definite Lombardi and Outland Trophy candidate as the offensive lineman of the year. He's just a great athlete, a great player. First down, 10, ball on the 32-yard line for the Gators. Bell 5 for 22, 5 for minus 22, carrying the football. Receivers left and right on the I formation. Bell to throw. He throws right down the middle, and he's got his man at the midfield stripe down to the 40-yard line. Ricky Nattiel, the junior from Newberry, Florida.
University of Florida just has too much talent to let those wide receivers sit silently idle in a big game like this. And Kerwin Bell looks down to his talented wide receiver, Ricky Nattiel, who has that tremendous 4.4, 4.5 speed. A big catch for the Gators inside that 50-yard line. Now the momentum possibly is switching to Florida.
There is Nattiel, 3 grabs for 57 yards, first and sound, and the ball is on the 40-yard line. They're in Miami territory. Kerwin Bell pitches. The pitch goes to the tailback, Neil Anderson, who's stacked up at the 41. Winston Moss, a junior from Miami, strong side linebacker, 92, made the hit.
Well, Paul Jett, the defensive coordinator of the Hurricanes, just said, okay, Florida, if you're going to throw the ball on us, we're going to start blitzing you a little bit. They sent some men in there, and that time it worked. But if the Gator running back penetrates that blitz, he's gone because there's nobody left to get him.
Second and 11 as they lose a yard. The ball at the 41-yard line. Slot offense to the left side. Kerwin Bell drops. He looks and throws out in the flat. He's got his first down at the 28-yard line to Ricky Nattiel.
Kerwin Bell took a big hit by number 95, Kevin Fagan, the 500-pound-plus bench presser defensive end for the Hurricanes. Kerwin Bell's got a lot of courage. He's going to sit here in the pocket and deliver the ball. Watch Kevin Fagan come from his backside. Ricky Nattiel on the catch inside the 30-yard line of the Hurricanes.
I'll tell you, Nattiel's making a case for the Mid-State Federal Savings and Loan Player of the Game award.
Yeah, he'll make a case for himself every week, I'm sure.
1st and 10 is the situation, and the give goes to the trailing back as he hits the line of scrimmage and is stacked up, and that would be Jerome Brown making the hit for the University of Miami. John L. Williams with the carry, the young man from Palatka.
Again, University of Miami jamming things up in the middle. They're bringing some linebackers. They're threatening with some safeties. They're just not going to let Kerwin Bell sit back there and pick him apart. That time the Gators tried to sneak a run by him, and again, they got stuffed at the line of scrimmage.
2nd down 10, ball at the 29-yard line now for the Gators. They slot to the right side. Kerwin Bell again looking, throws, and he's got John L. Williams coming out of the backfield. He's inside the 20 and fights to the 17-yard line. George Myra Jr. and Don Ellis make the tackle for Miami.
Hey, sometimes what works for the goose will work for the gander, and this has worked all night long for the University of Miami. Now Florida comes back and says, hey, we can play this game too. Out in the flat, there's your fullback sitting wide open. Linebackers that drop way back. Watch the ability of John L. Williams. One defender, then he's going to run over a couple. This guy's 220 pounds, and he's a load.
So impressive that he's got that balance, and he keeps going towards the goal line. You know, he doesn't run sideways.
And he's got the soft hands. He's a great receiver.
1st and 10 at the 16. Bell's give off goes to John L. Williams, or rather to Neil Anderson, and Neil Anderson is brought down by Miami. They do a good job on him there as Dan Stubbs, the sophomore from Red Bank, New Jersey, number 96, makes the tackle. So he gets to the line of scrimmage, and that will bring up 2nd down and mean 10 yards to go at the 16. 8 minutes and 15 seconds to play.
Well,
and here's Kerwin Bell talking to his troops just a moment ago.
Excuse me, Jim, but it's so different to see the University of Florida, who dominated everyone on the ground last year, having trouble running the football.
Anthony Williams, 36, is in now at the fullback slot as Anderson goes in motion, and Bell looks to throw. He's throwing for the end zone, and it is incomplete. I think he was looking for Anderson down there along the sideline, and Bell got hit pretty hard after he let that one go.
Selwyn Brown, the strong safety, who's had a couple of big hits in this ball game in the 2nd half, especially down near the goal line when the Gators were threatening earlier. Selwyn Brown, strong safety, blitzes in and forces Kerwin to unload that ball a little bit early.
3rd and 10 now at the 16. Attempts 32, yards 33.
Again, with the sacks of the quarterback on some of the blitzes, that throws that statistics out of whack a little bit.
Big offensive possession now for Florida. Kerwin Bell drops, throws, complete, touchdown, Gators. Number 89, Ricky Nattiel, in the end zone.
What a tremendous pass route by Ricky Nattiel. Don Ellis on the coverage. Darrell Fullington, the free safety. Don Ellis, the quarterback, could not cover the great University of Florida wide receiver, Ricky Nattiel. And I say great realistically. This kid's got 4.4, 4.5 speed. Kerwin Bell's waiting for him to make the break. He's waiting. There's the break. He's got the speed to run away from the back when he makes the break in the corner of the end zone.
Kerwin Bell at the line. The Gators are going to go for 2. They lead 26-21. Bell with the 2 big backs behind him. Bell looking to throw. Throws for the end zone, and it is incomplete, but there was a flag on the play. It was intended for Neil Anderson. He was the intended receiver, but there were flags on the play, and we'll see what the call is in just a moment, but the indication is that it is going to go against the Hurricanes.
That's a tough call. Benny Blades was covering Neil Anderson. Their feet got tangled up a little bit, but you cannot interfere with the receiver, even if it's unintentional. And look at the feet. There you can see the ball. Neil has a chance to catch the ball, but the feet get tangled up, it's a tough call, but it's the right call.
A good call. 26-21. 7 minutes, 50 seconds to play in the Orange Bowl.
Now you don't really know what Florida might do, even though they moved the ball up a little bit closer. I got to believe they're still going to throw the football.
All right, here they come, going for the 2.
Watch out for the blitz.
Kerwin Bell at the line. Got 2 tight ends. Motion man Neal to the top of your screen. The pitch to Anderson. He reverses his field and races into the end zone and gets the 2. What ability that guy has.
Well, that's 2 points by Neal Anderson. He didn't get a whole lot of help from anybody else, but the kid has the ability. He saw right away he didn't have a Chinaman's chance and made the cutback.
28 for Florida, 21 for Miami. Back right after this.
Wow, scary quarter there for the Gators. Miami able to come take the lead. We got the lead back at the end of that quarter there, thanks to Ricky's touchdown catch from Kerwin and the 2-point conversion. Great run by Neal, by the way. Congratulations there.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you.
But you saw Testaverde earlier running. You don't remember Vinny as being an agile quarterback. He got the scramble for the touchdown to give Miami the lead. But this was a guy that just retired this year, Jarvis, from the NFL. Could you imagine still playing on to the age that Vinny played to?
He has to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
Got to be the quarterback.
Quarterback or kicker,
True.
right?
Right,
True.
right. Can't get touched, but no, it is it's a great addition for him to even still be playing at this time. And after the game, we knew he was special.
Yeah.
He did a great
Burst
job.
onto the scene in the first start there and had a great game. And, you mentioned either a quarterback or a kicker that could play this long. Another guy from this game, Jeff Fiegels, actually the oldest guy to play in the Super Bowl this year for the New York Giants, signed another 2-year contract. And while those guys played for a lot of years in the NFL, you guys here combined for some pretty good years in the NFL. Neal, up in Chicago, the opportunity to stay in one place for your entire career.
Well, I had a great time in Chicago. Loved the city. They love sports, and they really love football. I mean, when I was there, Michael Jordan was there with basketball, but no matter what the Bulls did, how many championships they won, it was a football city. And, I was lucky. When I went in, my goal was to play 8 years, which at that time was basically 2 contracts.
Yep.
4 was standard. And God blessed me with good health, and I was able to, do some pretty good things, I think, financially, and get out of there with on my own terms.
And Mike Ditka, your head coach there in Chicago?
That was great. I mean, we had a lot of fun. We had, like Mike Ditka, Jim McMahon, Wade Refrigerator Perry, and an honor to play along with Walter Payton. And so it was just a great time. And I think the money was a little bit less, so it wasn't quite as serious as it is now. And we had a lot of fun. I mean, we had a good time in the locker room, and I think the locker room is what I remember most about the NFL.
Yeah.
Just having fun with the guys.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I had an opportunity to have some camaraderie in the locker room with Kerwin. It was interesting. I was a guy that grew up a Gator fan and had his autograph and ended up getting to play with him in Indianapolis. And actually, a perfect quarterback rating in a Thursday night game. Who were we playing that night against?
Philadelphia Eagles.
That's right. So Kerwin gets in there and
you remember when it's one game. You only play one game, you remember it.
Well, that's true. That helps. That helps.
A lot of years, though, from a number of different leagues. You played in Canada. You played in the, World League of American Football?
3 different leagues, Europe, Canada, all over. Played 13 years, wound up playing 13 years, and under 11 different offensive coordinators.
A lot of different coaches that have helped you with your
and
coaching
that's,
career.
God blessed me with that ability to now use it in my second profession, which is coaching. It's really been a blessing to have all those different philosophies and those different things that I've learned under, and tried to take some from each person, good and bad. And it's really helped me. I really believe as a head coach now, what I'm doing now as a college coach. So it was fun. I enjoyed it. I didn't get to play and do some of the things they got to do on the next level, but I always tell people when I speak now, I am the all-time leading passer in NFL history.
They can't take that away from you. Right?
And I am. I'm 158.3. You can't get any better than that. I only threw 5 passes, Neal, but I was 5 for 5.
But hey, you did the best with what you had.
Nobody can beat me. So, but it was a great career, and it's really helped me going into my profession now.
And 2 guys here from Palatka that go on to play at the University of Florida and into the NFL. Not a lot of guys probably would have thought that the 2 guys from Palatka would have achieved as much as you guys did in your NFL careers.
Well, I had a chance to play in the NFL. Came from Palatka, of course, and great city. and went on to the Seattle Seahawks, played there for 8 years. Made it to the playoffs twice in 8 years. Left the Seattle Seahawks as a free agent, went on to Pittsburgh Steelers.
I was gonna say I was in Pittsburgh for a couple. That's a great town for playing football.
It's a great town for football. Had a chance to go to the Super Bowl one time out of 10 years is great, and with the experience of going to the Super Bowl, and I don't know if any of these guys here ever had that experience of going to the Super Bowl, but it was a great experience, and in 10 years I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That 1 year that I did have a chance to go with the Steelers.
And Jarvis spent a number of years in the NFL as well. For I remember you with the Dolphins, right? For
state of Florida. See, the good thing about my career, playing at Palaga, going to UF, then going to Miami, everything in the state of Florida. I didn't have to go far from home. They must have knew something.
And Louis Oliver, a guy you played with down there in
played alongside
Miami
him at Florida. Played 3 years together at UF, then went and played 5 years together at Miami. So we had that understanding that we knew each other, which is something that you need. Like I say, play with Lorenzo, and you meet a lot of guys that you play with in Florida, and then you play with at different schools. You can't be.
And I always thought that, and you guys could probably agree with me on this, that it's always cool to go play other teams that had Gator guys on it, whether you played with them or not. You kind of had a bond that I think a lot of other schools didn't have.
That's true now, but when we played Miami, it was Jarvis had an attitude.
Was he trying to hit you?
Tried to hit me hard.
I did go give myself now. I knew.
But I thought we all went to the same college.
You take it easy on this boy.
Chris, I had a chance to play against Jarvis in high school, in college, and in pro. Well, in the pros, I played against him when he was at Miami, and he was also with the New York Giants. And so we would try to get an understanding of we're not going to hit that hard. But that was at the beginning of the game. But during the game, that didn't happen. He hit as hard, no matter what.
Well, when we come back, we'll see the rest of this Gridiron Great matchup between the Florida Gators and the Miami Hurricanes in the Orange Bowl in 1985.
Male enhancement. 5 years ago, few believed that this simple capsule could make a man larger. There was a lot of skepticism that a simple capsule could do such an amazing thing. A capsule that can make a man larger? But now, 5 years later, Extends has sold over 100 million capsules to men of all ages all over the world.
That's because the key ingredient in Extends has been scientifically proven to increase the size of that certain part of the male body. It's not a gimmick, it's real science. Now with over 100 million Extends capsules taken by men, it's hard to be skeptical. Extends was designed to do only one thing, make you larger regardless of age.
We're so sure Extends will make you larger, we're going to give you a week's supply absolutely free. All you pay for is the postage stamp.
A week's supply of Extends for the cost of a postage stamp. If Extends didn't do something pretty amazing, could we afford to do this? Call now for your free week's supply of Extends. You have nothing to lose, but a lot to gain.
Talk to you about what he wanted from the club.
A brotherhood.
Wednesday, September 3rd.
Nothing happens in Charming we don't control or get a piece of.
The devil wants in. He'll get in.
An FX original series.
They stole our M4s. Now, I don't care if we gotta grease or kill. I want those guns back.
Sons of Anarchy. Wednesday, September 3rd on FX.
Watch these fans trying to out-yell each other. We got some Hurricane fans and some Gator fans there, all yelling for their teams. Here's the kickoff by Florida. It's going to roll out of bounds along the far sideline at the 4-yard line. The intended run-back man was Melvin Bratton. Let's go back and take a look at the two.
Well, this is just all Neil Anderson. He doesn't have a chance on the left side. And he realizes that the pursuit is there, and so he's just going to use his great speed to coast into the end zone. Big 2 points for Florida. The University of Florida has to work on this kickoff team. They're going to put themselves in a bind here again. They kick the ball out of bounds. They're going to back the ball up, giving Miami a chance to get out and get some great field position. This is something they're going to work on next week, getting that ball in the end zone from the kickoff team.
Well, this young man, John David Francis, is a freshman walk-on from Stark. So he's playing in his first college football game, and so far he's done for a young guy starting a game a nice job. 11 plays, 79 yards, possession 455, Belden Mateel, 16-yard pass, 2-point conversion by Anderson. Deep and high. And it's going to be taken by Miami at the 8. He's at the 20-yard line and up to the 24-yard line before he is brought down.
J.C. Penny.
So there's J.C., the young man from Youngstown.
He's majoring in retailing.
Joe George made the hit for the Gators.
Well,
7 minutes 44 seconds to play in the game. Florida leading 28-21, and now we'll see what Miami's going to do.
He who has the ball last might win this ball game. Looks like the Gators have finally found an offense. Miami's had a great offense the second half. Let's see what's going to happen.
Vinny Testaverde, the quarterback, a split backfield behind him. The tight end, Willie Smith, to the top of your screen, 84 in motion just a moment ago. The give-off is going to go to Alonzo Highsmith, and he is brought down at the 25-yard line by Scott Armstrong. Got some help there, too, from some of the other troops, including Moten.
It's amazing what you can accomplish with a little help from your friends. The defense sits over there and watch their own, of the University of Florida watches their own offense move the ball down the field. They get excited and come out and stuff the first run and play. As you see, Highsmith trying to get outside with no success.
2nd and 9, the ball at the 26-yard line as Vinny Testaverde drops. Looking for somebody open. What time he's got. He throws out in the flat. It is incomplete. Number 31 was the intended receiver, and that was Darrell Oliver, or rather 37, and it was Alonzo Johnson putting the pressure on.
Number 93 covering for Florida.
Well, Testaverde is
Vinny's doing a nice job of delivering the ball, Jim. He's just had a few drop. He's got good protection. He's showing a lot of poise back there. This third down is going to be a big play for the Hurricanes.
3rd and 9 for the Canes. Florida's gone to the nickel. Waiting for the snap is Vinny. And here's Vinny to throw. He unloads.
Intercept.
It is almost intercepted by Florida. Incomplete. It was intended for Willie Smith, and Arthur White was the guy that broke it up. 43.
That's why Arthur White's not a fullback. He said, Arthur, you don't get a chance to catch the ball that much. We're going to put you on defense. Here we see Testaverde dropping back. Arthur White. No, it's not Arthur White either. It's number 23. Curtis Stacy.
Here's a deep kick by Fiegels. It's going to hit down and be picked up at the 33-yard line. So Florida gets it with good field position. And they lead it 6:46 to play. They're up 28-21.
Well, the momentum has changed here late in the fourth quarter. University of Florida offense. Kerwin Bell shakes things up with his passing arm. The defense comes out and plays a tough series. Now the Gators have the ball again. Right here, what they have to be thinking is control the football, kill the clock, get points if we can, but move the ball consistently down the field. Give our defense a break. That's what the Gators are thinking.
That's exactly right. Here is Kerwin Bell, and he's gone all the way as the signal caller. Ray McDonald, the motion man, just a moment ago. The pitch goes to John L. Williams trying to get outside, cuts back, and now comes the other way. And he's at the 40, he's across the 40 and up to the 45-yard line. He's got the first down. A great run by John L. Don Ellis brings him down, and Williams got a good block on that one from Kerwin Bell.
Well, it's a great run, but it's not supposed to work that way. The coaches aren't going to think it's too exciting when they run the films back. Miami has it defense. John L. just does a Neil Anderson impression and does a reverse into the open field. Big Kerwin Bell's out there throwing a vicious block. John L. gets out to the 45-yard line.
It worked so well for Neal, I might as well try it too. 1st and 10 on the 45, 6 minutes, 15 seconds to play. Florida leads 28-21. They've got possession of the football. Miami wants to get it back. Ray McDonald, 9, the motion man, top of your screen. The give off goes to Neal Anderson. He hits off the right side and is driven out of bounds on the near side as he crosses the midfield stripe at the 41-yard line of Miami. Benny Blades ran him out.
I tell you what, if that had been a run in the first quarter, you could have kissed Neal Anderson goodbye. He's just tired right now, and he wasn't able to use that great breakaway speed and get away from Benny Blades.
Got some nice blocks in there, too. 1st and 10. The ball is spotted at the 41-yard line. A little over 6 minutes to play. Anderson, 22 attempts, 54 yards. His stats are looking better.
Big David Williams, number 73, up front, freshman tackle from Lakeland, did a fine job on that last series.
Again, Anderson gets the call and goes to the 38-yard line, so he picks up 3 yards, but the hard way because Miami was right there to greet him.
Let's mention those guys up front. Big Greg Cleveland, number 64. Jimmy Davis, number 67. At center, you got Frank McCarthy. At one guard, Big Jeff Zimmerman, one of the finest players in the country at 6'4", 304. At right tackle, big young David Williams, 6'5", 295. Those guys are coming to life here in the 4th quarter.
2nd down, 7 yards to go. Ball on the 37. 5:25 to play as the Gators eat up the clock on this drive. Kerwin Bell looking to throw. He's complete to the 32-yard line to his receiver, and Bruce Fleming drills the guy that caught the pass. We're talking about Walter Odom, the junior from Miami, Florida.
Yeah, this is Walter's hometown, and he's doing a fine job out there this evening.
We've got a Miami player down. It looks like a cramp, perhaps. You know, when it's this warm in the evening, even though we're kind of cool up here in the booth, but they're pretty hot down on the field. Those things do occur. So
they're not pretty.
They're working over him right now.
They're not pretty hot down on the field. They're real hot, Jim.
That's Bruce Fleming coming off the field. He's their fine linebacker. By the way, National Car Rental is the official car rental company of the Florida Gators. The reservations call 1-800-CAR-RENT. That's 1-800-CAR-RENT. Dell 17 for 25, 216 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
That's quite a way to start the season, isn't it?
Not bad. I think he'd take that every game, don't you?
No, Galen Hall would.
3rd and 2 at the 33-yard line for Florida, and this is a big one for them because they need to keep possession of the football. For Miami, a big one too. They want to get it back. Bell looking, and he's going to go out into the flat, complete at the 17-yard line, and across the 15 to the 13-yard line is Frankie Neal, number 21, the junior from Okeechobee.
Frankie Neal makes a big reception, but big young Jimmy Davis, number 67, the offensive guard from Apopka. Watch him pull out and throw the block here that gives Kerwin Bell that extra second. Big Jimmy makes a great block. Kerwin sits in a pocket with confidence and delivers to Frankie Neal, who's the biggest receiver that the University of Florida has from Okeechobee. Frankie Neal.
4 minutes and 22 seconds to play. Neal, 2 catches, 25 yards. 1st and 10, ball on the 14. Bell gives off to Anderson off the left side, gets to about the 12 as he gets 2 very difficult yards. Jerome Brown, the right tackle, makes the hit. Jimmy Johnson along the sideline.
That counter play was one of the biggest plays in the Gator arsenal in 1984, and it seems to be working a little bit out here tonight. Again, we mentioned that's a young offensive line, and they'll be getting more confidence as they get the experience.
2nd down, 9 yards to go. Ball on the 13-yard line. Kerwin Bell throws. It is complete to John L. Williams, and he fights to the 8-yard line before he's brought down by Benny Blades, the left corner for Miami, 36. So these guys there's some fierce hitting going on.
Oh, yeah, these guys don't mess around. You don't get any better than major college football, and the University of Florida and the University of Miami are consistently in the top 20 in major college football. These kids are tremendously talented. Again, we see the talent of John L. Williams, number 22, the big, strong running fullback, has the ability to catch that pass in the flat. He's just a tremendous receiver from the fullback position.
2 minutes and 50 seconds to play. Kerwin Bell, the quarterback, looks for the end zone. Touchdown, Florida. Frankie Neal in the end zone for another Florida touchdown. Colbert Bain right on him, but he made a great catch on the ball and a great move. So the junior from Okeechobee catches the football, and you can see the disappointment register on the face of Jimmy Johnson because he's got some way to go point-wise right now as the Gators have pulled out to a 34-21 lead. Jeff Dawson, the junior from Lantana, Florida, will go for the extra point, and Ray Criswell, 13, will be the holder. There's the snap. His foot is into it, and it is right through the uprights for the score. Florida 35 and Miami 21. We'll be right back. Gators lead 35-21 with 2:45 to play. And John David Francis, the young walk-on freshman, will boot away from the 35-yard line. Kicks it high. It's going to bounce and be chased by Miami. Picked up at the 5. He's at the 10, and he's across the 15-yard line. Finally dragged down at the 21-yard line.
J.C. Penny.
J.C. comes back once again.
Jerome Brown, number 98, there you saw on the screen briefly. He's done a fine job on defense for the Hurricanes tonight. I tell you what, Kerwin Bell and his arm is the difference here in the second half. Kerwin Bell comes out and can throw the ball down the field. The running game is not working, so Kerwin Bell says, hey, I'll take charge of things, and he delivers.
He certainly does, I'll tell you that. When he unloads, he throws into another area code. 1st and 10 at the 21-yard line. Dropping back is Testaverde, and he's under pressure, and he unloads high, and it is complete to the 41-yard line to Brian Blades, number 9. So a nice toss by Vinny. Vernell Brown, a senior from Gainesville, the free safety, makes the tackle for the Gators.
Well, Vinny Testaverde has that powerful arm, and he can get it down the field. Vinny Blades on the reception. About the 41-yard line of the Hurricanes. There's an injury on the field with a Florida Gator down. 2 Gators are down. It looks like leg cramps.
That's number 26, Jarvis Williams, but they're working over him on the field, and he's at the about the 37-yard line. You can see on your screen, but they're talking to him, and now coming up and walking off under his own power, but requiring a little help there is Clifford Charlton, that sophomore from Tallahassee, who's played a fine job this evening. He's being walked off on the far side. Mid-State Federal Savings and Loan is performance-minded and is proud to recognize outstanding individual performance with Mid-State's Most Valuable Player of the Game award. Physical fitness, keen mental concentration, and a true spirit to win is what Gator football is all about today and in the future. All-time record, 80,227 to see the Miami Hurricanes here in the Orange Bowl. Dropping back now is Vinny Testaverde under a lot of pressure, gets it off to Bratton. He's at the 40, and he's being chased and dragged down from behind at the midfield stripe by Ron Moten.
Curtis Stacy got nothing but air right there. Once Melvin Bratton gets out in the open field, that kid is so dangerous. Again, I told you, I don't believe people are leaving with more than 2 minutes to go because Miami has the ability to score in a hurry.
2nd and 2, the ball on the 50-yard line, and there are flags on the play. Well, if you'll remember last year's game, Miami scored a couple of touchdowns with very few seconds left on the clock.
I not only will remember it, I'll never forget it. That's one reason I can't believe people continue to leave ball games with 2 minutes to go.
So it's a legal procedure. It's against Miami, and it's going to move the football back to the 45. 2nd and 7 for the Hurricanes at their 45-yard line. Vinny Testaverde with a split backfield behind him, 20 for 33 tonight. Looking, throwing long, and it is incomplete. It was intended for number 8, Kenny Oliver, senior from Miami, Florida, who was deep downfield, and it falls as incomplete. And Curtis Stacy was the coverage man for the Gators. 1 minute and 46 seconds left to play. Ball remains at the 45-yard line, 3rd and 7, and here comes a big offensive possession play for the Hurricanes of Miami. The Gators, with the 4-down linemen, really put the pressure on, and Testaverde's looking to throw, being chased out of the pocket, throws, and it is complete for the first down as they get to the 37-yard line to Brian Blades. Vernell Brown, the senior from Gainesville, makes the catch.
First down, and he stops the clock. You know, coming into this game, the University of Florida was picked as possibly a top 5 team in the nation. The University of Miami was looked at as top 20 team in the nation. These two teams are going to beat a lot of football clubs in 1985.
1st and 10 now for the Hurricanes. The ball on the 36. Testaverde looking, being chased out of the pocket, throws, and it is complete on this near sideline as his man comes out at the 27-yard line, and that completion was to Kenny Oliver.
Well, the Hurricanes continue to move the ball down the field. If they get a quick 7, of course they got an uphill battle, but hey, crazy things happen in college football.
1:33 to play. So there again, you stop the clock, 2nd down, and about a yard to go on the 27. Miami's got 3 timeouts remaining.
It's kind of funny, Jim. I don't see any University of Florida people even. They remember what can happen.
Here is Bratton again as he goes for the first down and fights forward to the 22. Patrick Miller, the senior from Panama City, Florida, makes the tackle for the University of Florida Gator defensive unit. 1:25 to play.
Now the clock stops temporarily while they reset the chains. Miami hurries up to the line of scrimmage to call an audible.
Florida 35, Miami 21 to score. And here is Testaverde dropping, looking, look at the time he's got. He's being pursued, running out of the pocket, throws for the end zone, and it is incomplete. It was intended for number 9, and that was Brian Blades running that crossing pattern, and Vernell Brown made a great play on the ball.
Now Testaverde had a shot. Blades was open for a minute, but Vernell Brown is doing exactly what he's supposed to be. He's a safety man. He's supposed to play center field, and he's as deep as the deepest man, and he was exactly where he was supposed to be. Give credit to Vernell Brown for making a fine play.
2nd and 10, the ball on the 22-yard line now for the Hurricanes. Throw set being used by the Canes. Vinny Testaverde at the line. Testaverde again dropping the throw. Under pressure, and he lets it go, and it is complete but dropped. Not complete. It was covered. So was it complete and recovered by the Gators, or was it incomplete? It was complete and recovered by the Gators at the 10-yard line.
And that's the way the ball game would end right there. Jarvis pads the stats at the end with a late interception and what you call it, junk time there.
Junk time, garbage time.
Well, and you know, at this point in time, at the end of the ball game, we finally got a hold of one of the stars of this game, Ricky the Rocket Nattiel, one of my favorite receivers from back in the mid-'80s there. And Ricky, appreciate you joining us, man. Had a heck of a ball game early in the game. You caught a curl for a touchdown, and then a great move later in the game on the corner route that would end up putting Florida up. Any memories from that ball game for you stand out?
Well, knowing it's hard to beat UM as it is, but it's definitely hard to beat them, obviously, in Miami. Being able to score twice on them as well. You know, they got the good aggressive.
Great players on that defense.
You know, and they talk a lot of trash, you know. The Blaze, I can remember him, he always talks. But, you know, they're a good group of guys. It's always good to score against them. Like I said, they talk a lot of trash, but it was a good win.
And earlier in that fourth quarter, we saw Frankie Neal kind of catch that fade route to cap off the scoring for the Gators. I always remembered you and Kerwin had a pretty good connection as well on that fade route. Is that something you guys used to work on a lot together?
All the time, especially in the offseason. That's one of, obviously, as a receiver, it's one of your favorite routes because it's one of those kind you should know.
You're not going to get hit and then
get out of bounds. You know, you can catch it, score, get out of bounds. You know, so it was one of my favorites. And Kerwin did throw that. Was probably one of his best passes, too. He throws that route really well.
You know, I played with some pretty good receivers at Florida. You guys may be a little undervalued with yourself, Frankie Neal, Ray McDonald, and Brett Wickman out there. Pretty good core of receivers, but barely had the chance for any of you guys to ever get on the field at the same time, thanks to John L. and Neal.
Yeah. And, you know, when have those two guys in the backfield, I mean, as a coach and playing in the SEC, you know, how could you not run the football? You know, that's how you win games in that conference. But, you know, when my number was called, you know, I was able to make some good plays, and I took advantage of the opportunities when they were there.
A number of opportunities that you certainly took advantage of. I mentioned Ray McDonald and another guy. Vernell Brown. If Gator fans from today are tuning in, you might think you're caught in some sort of time warp. Those guys actually had sons by the same name that were playing in the 2000s. So kind of a neat thing that those guys would kind of pass on a second legacy to the University of Florida. And Jarvis, you have a son that you've kind of passed on to one of your former teammates playing with Kerwin at JU now, huh?
Yeah, down with Kerwin. He switched positions this past year, but like I said, he's a go-getter. But you know, he enjoys playing with Kerwin. He really appreciates the opportunity, and you know, he's gonna make the best of it.
And Kerwin in his second season at JU now?
Yeah, I tell you, Jarvis, you could tell as his son, first day I got there when we got in pads, because, boy, he'll light you up. And I said, you can tell that's his dad, that's his son, because
doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's a hitter. But no, it is our second year. We went 3-8 last year, our first year. But I'm very excited. We had 18 guys from our freshman class travel and play a big part in our season last year. All those guys will be back. We signed 24 guys on signing day this year. Great guys. We feel like it's going to come in and really turn our program around, Chris. We've also in the past year we've got the board there to approve a stadium, 10,000 seat stadium that we'll put down by the river there on the St. Johns River, and so we feel like this program's heading in the right direction. We're opening actually on the road at Appalachian State. We've got them on the schedule.
Played pretty well in the opening game.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. You know, we don't know where we're at, but Chris, that's my vision for this program is let's be a great 1AA program. And some people say, well, you're dreaming. I don't believe I am. When you think about us being in Jacksonville, Florida, a great city, the only college team in Jacksonville, across the river from the Jaguars, have the state of Florida to draw from as a 1AA program. We can build this thing into a great program, and people are jumping on board. It's going to be a process, but it's a fun process to wake up every morning and have that challenge ahead of you. And we feel like, you know, with our president, our AD, the commitment they're making, that we're going to make it happen.
You talk about the process that you're putting together and building a program at JU. You built a program there at Ocala Trinity Catholic that Ricky, you've taken over now and actually employed some of your former teammates out there with you coaching. Update us on your life there as a high school football coach now.
Kerwin left us kind of bare. I probably should have. He left it bare, but you know, we got some good young kids. You know, we like to get them young. It's kind of how we did when Kerwin was there. That way, you get them for 3 or 4 years. You know, you can groom them. You know,
beat up on my Blue Wave this year.
Yeah, we're still able to, beat those guys. But they're always competitive. But again, we got a lot of good young kids, and just trying to keep the program going in the same direction.
Well, great football game. Great to have you guys. Any final thoughts on this this big win over Miami? The last time that Florida was able to beat the Hurricanes, now been 23 seasons. Obviously, hadn't played them year in and year out like we once did, but big victory for you guys.
Definitely. I think playing in the Orange Bowl, and beating Miami in the Orange Bowl is something that we really look forward to.
Orange Bowl now torn down, and kind of sad to see that thing go.
Sad to see it go. A lot of memories in it, but Orange Bowl is good for us.
Yeah, for me personally, like Jarvis said, to say that you played in the Orange Bowl in a big game, that's something. We played there in '85 and also in '87. Jarvis and I did as seniors to be a part of that. But then for me as a quarterback, I take it as a personal sort of pride thing to say, when you see Jimmy Johnson on the other sideline, Chris, and you see Butch Davis, Ed Orgeron, who was an Ole Miss head coach here the last couple of years, to see those 3 defensive guys over there on that side of the field, and we were able to put 35 points in their backyard.
4 touchdown passes.
4 touchdown passes. None by Neal. They defensed Neal pretty good in that game.
What did you say?
Well, we had 4 touchdowns. I mean,
you got to understand. They watched film from the year before. They knew that they had to put 9 in the box, and they need to stop the run. It's pretty easy to throw.
That's why I got my 2 touchdowns. Thanks to Neal.
Man coverage because of your friends.
We bailed them out, didn't we, Ricky? We bailed out these old guys, these first rounders. But no, Jimmy Johnson's a great. We know how good he is, and Butch, Butch Davis, how well he's done. It's something to say we scored 35 on those guys in their own backyard. That's something we can always remember.
That was a great team that you guys had back there in '84 and '85, and I certainly appreciate all you guys joining me here today to talk about this game and watch it together. I appreciate all you guys for watching as well. Thanks for joining us on this great football game between the University of Florida and the University of Miami from 1985.